Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. At this time, I'll ask everyone to please stand for a short prayer and a salute to our flag. We'll begin with our short prayer. Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Please be seated. Jessica, statement of publication, please.
Take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on Monday, January 23rd, 2023, has been posted and advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Balca. Conti. June 4.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Anoha.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
At this time, I'll ask for the approval of prior minutes of the mayor and council. Council President Anoha, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to approve the minutes from the prior meeting
As listed,
as listed.
December 12th, just read those dates, please.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Give me a
He
moment.
doesn't have the,
Sorry, I know you just sat.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the prior minutes from December 12th, 2022 for regular and agenda sessions and January 3rd, 2023 agenda and reorganization sessions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Anoha. Balca.
December 12th.
Conti.
And was this subject to correction if necessary?
He did.
Yes.
June 4.
Yes.
Novak.
Yeah.
Roberts.
Okay, moving forward, I see no public hearings. I see no proclamations or presentations, but I would like to make a couple of appointments at this time. To the Board of Health, I'd like to appoint for the 3-year term Karen Bailey Biebert. Oh,
Oh,
Oh, Nicole, it's not on the thing.
I would.
I make a motion to accept Karen Beaver as Board of Health. Second.
Second. Is there a roll call for that? Or-
Yes.
There we go. When you're ready.
Second, June 4.
That was, yes,
Okay.
Councilwoman June.
Roberts.
Yes.
Balca.
Yes.
Conti.
yes.
June 4.
Yes.
Anoha. Missed you, Mary.
It's okay. I'm going to abstain because she's going to.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm then going to skip down just a little bit and go on to the Commission of Aging. So for 3-year membership, Deborah Mumbar. 3-year member Terry Esco. 3-year member Maria Rittenhouse. 3-year non-voting member Marie Cook. 3-year non-voting member Maria Ann Spisoa. I think I said that incorrectly, though. I apologize for that. At this point, I'll hold on the other ones because I know that normally we have some input from our Commission on Aging in reference to that.
Yeah, that, the vacancy that is there. Somebody from the nursing home. we don't
Right.
Have anybody, you know.
You're right. So I'm going to just leave that open now because I personally, I see that there is a new applicant on that space,
Yeah, they
but I
need
don't
the
want to turn
qualifications.
around and do something if the
But we have
qualifications
to-
don't work.
The Office on Aging. we have to-
Yes.
We discussed that.
Right.
For that position.
So I'll hold on those, but I do know that the other listed members are in fact serving in the same positions that they have in the past. So we're okay to move forward with those as well. For the Library Board of Trustees, the 5-year member, which we would have as Ann Polnick. And then for my mayor's, for the superintendent's designee, did we get that letter in from Dr. Labby appointing Lori
Lori Ann,
Gifford?
yeah.
Okay, and my designee, I would like to remain as Karen Perno, provided that she's put her paperwork in for that.
I haven't received.
I believe it did, yeah, I thought so. So with that paperwork coming in, I would like to put my mayor's designee once again to the wonderful Mrs. Karen Perno. I think she's been serving in there for quite a few decades, doing an excellent job. Let me just verify if I have any others. Recreation Advisory Board, we have for a 3-year membership, you have Wayne Biebert. There are other new applicants and we have many vacancies, it appears. So
only
1,
have
2,
3
3,
and a-
4.
And a,
Is there 4 vacancies from what I can?
one's a Bodo.
Oh, the boat owner. So I'm going to appoint, I'm going to appoint Steve Wegrin to one of the vacancies. And Vishay Shah also to one of the vacancies. I'm just going, because there's one more vacancy with that boat owner. I'm just going to hold off between Jeff and our other applicant because I don't know what their classifications or qualifications are in that respect. It leaves another position open and who knows, one may be a boat member and we can do that appropriately. Moving on. For the Open Space Committee, I am going to appoint Nicole because quite frankly, we need to. So Nicole Aranowitz is going to be appointed to, what's that position? The vacancy for the 3-year. Congratulations. Find some space. Find some open space for me. And then we have under the Rent Leveling Board for that 1-year membership, once again, Rosemary Zara also to that position. Moving on, the SAFE, Paulette's been serving, Paulette Hudak's been on for quite a while, so we're going to reappoint to that 2-year membership. And the rest, I'm just going to hold on Housing Authority for right now. Jeff, yes. Where is my Jeff appointment? Right underneath Housing. So that would go to Rebecca Garbowski for that 1-year employee. And obviously our alternate is still going to remain as you, Denise, for that. And I believe that that does it for right now.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Mayor, I'm concerned about the zoning board. You really
It's-
have to make appointments there. Because they tell me that they can't have.
Well, from what I understand, actually, right now, there's no meetings to the zoning board because they don't have an attorney. It actually doesn't have anything to do with the board appointments.
No, it does. They only have 5 members. They need 7 to hear anything bigger than a backyard shed. Oh, no, I realize that,
Yep.
but what I'm saying is that before the next meeting,
Mhm.
you'll probably have an attorney. You still won't have enough members on the zoning board to hear anything. That's anything bigger than a shed.
One step at a time, but it'll be attended to, I'm sure.
Excuse me?
One step at a time, but I'm sure I'll be attended to. That's my belief on it. So.
Okay, so that will do it for the appointments at this point. Can I have a motion for the acceptance of the appointments that I had listed?
Make a motion to accept the appointments as
Second.
listed.
Second, roll call, please.
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Alka,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yeah.
Novak,
Yes.
Anoha.
Yes.
Okay, now
As long
we're,
as we're on, I'd like to nominate myself to be appointed as the governing member body to be appointed by the council to the Open Space Committee. Do I have a second?
I would second that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question. My ears are
I'm
clogged.
sorry, did Councilman Novak have an application in?
The council person has never had to file an application before. I've been on the open space now for about 18 years and the council members appoint the member to the council that represents the council. It's a voting member. Joe Cups asked that I please be reappointed.
Oh, you didn't need to put an application in?
As a council member, they don't need to have
Oh, you
an,
don't need to put an application.
right? It's basically somebody that's put up by the council. She's nominated herself and was seconded by,
But from a reappointment standpoint, do you mind speaking towards your previous, accomplishments within that position?
I was on there when it was first done back in the 90s. And since I've been back, I've been on there every single year since then. I'm very knowledgeable on everything, the plan for open space, what we have bought, what we haven't bought.
Yeah.
And I attend all the meetings.
So I know from a knowledge standpoint, but I mean in terms of an accomplishment, because like the knowledge can also be dangerous too. So I mean from an accomplishment standpoint, from the 90s till date, do you mind speaking towards that a bit? I think, yeah.
Personal accomplishments of the accomplish of the Open Space Committee. We got a second.
have a second.
There is a second.
No, just, well, one thing we recently did, but frankly, it was really because we had a big problem with our COA requirement. We just purchased that property off of across from the right behind Kennedy Park.
They can't hear you, Mayor.
My mic's on. Let's tell you. Okay. One of the biggest things we did was purchase the open space, purchase the property across right behind Kennedy Park just a couple of years ago.
Well, that was a little bit more than a couple of years ago because a couple of years ago was COVID. But one of the things that we actually had to enter into as a result of the affordable housing litigation and negotiations, luckily with that particular developer, we were able to actually acquire the space that was across from ShopRite, also part of Kennedy Park, which Kathleen was looking to make additional housing. Thankfully, and that was a prime piece of property, I believe, and I'm kind of looking over at our resident expert on property within the town. So that was originally designated as prime, and we were able to turn around and take that as open space and keep that from now being a developable piece of property, which was much, much needed. Outside of that, I think that one of the biggest problems that we have in the town, and we're hearing it loud and clear, is that our open space committee really needs to entertain, look into, and try to acquire even more open space because we want it. We want less development. And, you know, I'm telling you right now, builder's remedy, which we learned about under affordable housing, gives a lot of leeway to big time developers that have a lot of money to come in and change zoning and other things under the, I don't know, under this need of having to build housing. We were really, our hands were tied. I could look to our attorney for that. You know, builder's remedy under the affordable housing allowed zoning that our town created under our master plans to completely just be challenged and go away. And that's really what was happening. So our open, who's ever serving on open space, we need to have aggressive insight, aggressive visions, and we really need to be off and moving with what we can do as a town to gain as much open space, as many trees back, as much soil back, and give back the habitat to the environment. So I understand your question, Councilman Anoha, to find out that, you know, each person that goes onto that board, what is their vision? What have they done? It's a great question. Of course.
Most people probably know this, but the towns that don't try to meet their obligation and they just say to the developers, go pound salt, we're not doing it. They wind up exposed to these builder remedy lawsuits. And in those cases, the builders don't have to comply with any zoning. They can come in and just build a very dense project that is not in conformity with that zoning in that parcel. So there is a reason to at least try to comply with the affordable housing numbers. It's a give and take because you don't want the density, you don't want to build the town out, but there is a risk to that too. So it requires a lot of patience and hard work.
Council President, did you want to continue with any of your other questions regarding the appointment of Councilman Novak?
No, I was about to learn a bit more context. I just wanted to learn a bit more context from her perspective.
Okay, so there is a motion and there was a second in order to appoint Councilwoman Novak to the Open Space Committee as the council representative, voting member, as you stated. At this point, we need a roll call then.
Novak,
Yes.
Balca,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4.
I don't have a problem with voting for Councilman Novak to be reappointed, but I do have a question. Even with what the mayor said, can you attest to even some of the things that the lawyer has said? Are you able to even protect the town as far as that?
That has nothing to do with open space, what he was talking about. Well, our affordable housing has got to do with what the planning board demands of people coming in wanting to.
And what about the
Got nothing to do
developers
with open
too?
space. I don't know why that was even brought up.
Okay,
Nothing to do with open space.
and the developers and also how purchasing more open space
Excuse me?
and with the developers, even with what the attorney said, like about the developers and also purchasing more open space.
We, almost every year, Joe Cups we discuss it at a meeting. He sits down, we review what's in our open space, and he makes offers to the people that own this property. 9 times out of 10, our offers are not accepted. We were very lucky, as Vicky said, about that because of the whole agreement with affordable housing, when we absolutely refused to go along with what the previous mayor had signed, giving away the whole town. We fought that, and as part of that settlement, we were able to buy a very pristine property, and the developer, because he was getting other things, was willing to sell it to us. But we attempt every single year to reach out to the developers of any open pieces of property to see if they will. We cannot force them to buy. We can encourage them to sell it to us, but we cannot force them to sell it to us. Usually what they want is far more than the property is even assessed for. Because before we buy a piece of property, we have to have a company come in and do an assessment. And all of that has to be done before we can even buy a piece of property. But the developer has to be, or sometimes it's a small piece of property that we'll buy, that's close to a park or something like that.
Thank you. I'll say yes in good faith, even based off of what she has explained and based off what I've been hearing, I'll say yes in good faith.
Roberts.
On that, I want to say, Mary, thank you for stepping up for that. You're the most knowledgeable and experienced and will serve well in that position. My answer is yes.
Okay, the only thing that I'll add is, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to any type of development and any type of building, whether it's affordable or not, there's very, very few things that protect us as a borough as far as where we can allow people to build and not. One of those is the stipulation of an area that is officially labeled as open space. Is that correct? Open space is really the only hands-off type of label that you can put on a piece of property to make deed protected. Thank you. Language arts here. I'm not into that property owner.
The money that we have in our, everybody knows from the tax bill, they put a certain amount of money towards open space. That we have a very, very restrictive ordinance on that. The county, any money that goes into their open space tax can be used to do something with a piece of land they already own. We cannot. This is strictly limited to buying property. We cannot use it to improve the property, to put in a park or anything else. We'd have to fund something like that with other funds in the town. But we have a very limited open space ordinance.
That's one of the things I think that we can also look at, and I think we need to entertain, because one of the other problems that we have is not only do we not have enough open space and maybe not the possibility to acquire it, but maybe we need to look back into that ordinance to see what we can amend in order to allow for us to use some of those funds in order to improve properties that we do have.
Yeah.
So there,
Just keep something in mind. We discussed this once before.
yes.
Any money that's already in there
Mhm.
has to be used just for purchase. It would only be new, if we do change the ordinance, it'd only be new funds that we accumulate.
Right.
That was a big legal discussion before. Anything that's there already can only be used by the terms that it was put in there, and that's strictly for buying.
And if we continue to allow that ordinance to stay exactly the way that it's been written for decades upon decades, then that will never change.
Yep.
So one of the things that we need to do, and one of the things that I've been fighting for up here, and I think we have an opportunity to make some serious change, is looking at the things that aren't working. And right now,
Keep hearing attempts after, we make attempts every year without accomplishments. So, sorry.
so if we keep collecting money from all of us, again, we're taxpayers too, so my money is going into that open space fund as well. But if I know that I'm throwing money into something that I'm never going to be able to use, that's never going to be able to be spent, then we need to readjust the way that money is being utilized and how we can use it for the betterment of our town. So I think that would be one of our first points of order. And Mary, since it appears that you are once again our representative for open space, let's bring that back to the committee and let's have discussions about how we can open up that ordinance moving forward.
That's mayor and council.
Well, but I think you should also discuss that with the open space
Oh, we
committee
have.
too. Yeah.
We have been discussing it for years, and nothing happens on the council level is what I'm saying.
Well, let's make it happen.
I agree with you.
Let's make it happen. Another day of progress. All right. where are we now? So that's official. We're done with our appointments. We can move to ordinance number 0123. That is going to be an introduction for the following ordinance under Public Works. That's Councilman Conti.
An ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 2-33 Sustainable Saraville Commission.
Okay, since this is for introduction, I do not need to open to the public, so I just need a move from Councilman Conti.
I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on 2/13/23.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Conti,
Yes.
Balca,
Yes.
Junfor,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Noha,
Yes.
Roberts.
yes.
At this time, we're going to move forward to our resolutions, open to the public on the 1, 2, 3 resolutions that are currently listed. The others will be read in full with a separate opportunity for another public portion. If there's anybody from the public, online or in person, that wishes to speak on those resolutions, please step forward or raise your hand. You see anybody under attendees? Okay, seeing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion to close the public portion and accept the resolution,
And
approve resolutions.
And approve the resolution.
second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Balca, Conti,
Yes.
Junfor, Novak,
Yes.
Noha.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to our resolutions to be read in full. Jessica, that's you.
Resolution 2023-32, a resolution of the Borough of Saraville in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, awarding the contract for grant writing to BRS Inc. of Medford, New Jersey. Whereas the Borough of Saraville recognizes its need for the services of a grant writer for various programs available to the borough. Whereas the wishes to award a non-fair and open contract to BRS Inc. of Medford, New Jersey to engage its services. And whereas the appropriate borough officials have reviewed and approved said contract, and it is hereby resolved that the contract for grant writing be awarded to BRS Inc. of Medford, New Jersey, in an amount not to exceed $44,000.
Is there anybody from the public wish to speak on the ordinance that was just read in full? The resolution, my apologies, reading ordinances. So, seeing none at this time and seeing none online, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion that we accept the resolution.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Balca,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Junfor, Novak,
Yes.
Anoha.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-33, resolution authorizing submission of a grant proposal to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs FY 23 Local Recreational Improvement Grant Program, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Saraville desires to apply for and obtain a grant from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for approximately $125,000 to carry out a project to install 2 pickleball courts at Kennedy Park. Therefore, it be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Borough of Saraville does hereby authorize the application for such a grant and recognizes and accepts that the department may offer a lesser or greater amount, and therefore, upon receipt of the grant agreement from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, does further authorize the execution of any such grant agreement, and also upon receipt of the fully executed agreement from the department, does further authorize the expenditure of funds pursuant to the terms of the agreement between the Borough of Saraville and the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. Be it further resolved that the persons whose names, titles, and signatures appear below are authorized to sign the application, and that they or their successors in said titles are authorized to sign the agreement and any other documents necessary in connection therewith.
At this time, I open to the public for any and all comments regarding resolution number 2023-33. Seeing none in person and seeing none online, I'll entertain a motion yet again.
I move the public portion be closed and the resolution approved on roll call.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Balca,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
Junfor,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts. Resolution 2023-34, whereas the following named persons have applied for the renewal of an auto wrecker's license under the existing ordinances covering the following locations for the year 2023. Joseph V. Giuliano, trading as Julian's Garage, 919 Route 9, South Amboy. Wayne Wagner Wagcar, Inc., Walters Auto Body, 502 Raritan Street, Saraville. Steve Rabel, Economy Auto, Victory Bridge Plaza, South Amboy. Thomas D. Pasquale, Wayne's Auto Body, South Pine Ave, and 10th Street. Whereas the governing body has considered the applications and the same appear to be in conformity with the terms of the ordinances, and whereas it further appears that there are no present violations pending against said applicants, Now therefore it be resolved that the said applications are hereby approved and granted for the year 2023, that upon receipt of the proper insurance coverage and satisfactory record inspection reports, the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to issue said licenses.
Let's get on to any comments from the public regarding resolution 2023-34. None at this time.
I move the public portion be closed and the resolution adopted on roll call vote.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Valka,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Anoha,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
Resolution number 2023-35, be it resolved that the proper borough officials are hereby authorized and directed to award a contract for the purchase of one 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe to Mall Chevrolet, 75 Hannonfield Road, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, through E ESCNJ Contract 2021-09, in amount not to exceed $49,869.45 using forfeiture funds.
Anybody from the public wish to speak on resolution 2023-35? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion yet again.
Hey, can I ask
Make
a
a mo-
question before you do that?
Okay.
This is the first time that I saw it or maybe noticed it, that we're using forfeiture funds.
Same thing with the, we just used it on
So
firearms.
so what is this? The police have,
Glenn can,
So when the police complete an investigation, once there's a conviction, sorry, once there's a conviction, oftentimes the prosecutor, the attorney general will move to take property that was used in a criminal enterprise, the proceeds from which are split amongst the agencies that participated in the investigation. We have an account in which that is deposited, and from time to time, there are authorized expenditures under that forfeiture that's eligible for
that's
purchase.
what I figured.
And in this instance, it saves the
Yeah.
taxpayers and we're taking.
So my question was, how do we find out what's there? And who's,
Denise, do we know
I
what's in
mean,
there?
yeah, I'd like to know. I mean, because there's a fund out there that potentially has, I don't know, $1 million in there. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know what it has in it.
We're more than happy to provide with that information. Just bear in mind that it's very restricted on what it can be used for.
I'm not saying that. I just want to know, it's just like when we talk about Shade Tree, people say, oh, we've got over $2 million. And well, I'd like to know what's in this forfeiture fund, just so that we can track it.
We'll get that for you.
Thank you.
And then
no, we didn't.
I think she was,
then I'll move the public portion be closed, the resolution accepted on roll call vote.
Second.
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Valka.
Yes.
Conti,
yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Noha.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-36, be it resolved that the proper borough officials are hereby authorized and directed to award a contract for the purchase of lights, sirens, and equipment to East Coast Lighting, Inc. of Millstone Township through NJ State Contract 17 Fleet 00761 in an amount not to exceed $8,665.25 using forfeiture funds.
All right, I'll open to the public for any and all comments regarding this particular resolution. Anybody with any comments, please step forward. Seeing none at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion. I move the public portion be closed and the resolution accepted on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Valka,
Yes.
Conti,
Yes.
June 4,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Noha. Resolution number 2023-37, be it resolved that the proper borough officials are hereby authorized and directed to award a contract for the purchase of one 2022 Ford Bronco Sport to Tom's Ford, 200 Highway 35, Keyport, in an amount not to exceed $34,204.50.
Anybody from the public who's to speak on this particular resolution, please step forward. Seeing none.
Now,
Final motion.
are we out of forfeiture funds?
The good,
No.
the bad news is, yes, that's not coming from forfeiture funds. The good news is, and the CFO can correct me, but that's going to come out of funding out of code enforcement and construction.
Okay.
All
Oh,
of
it's a
those-
different, it's a code enforcement.
Yeah, all of those
Okay.
fees and everything that
Yep,
we
makes
collect
sense.
throughout the year has to be used within that department to a large degree, and they're in
Gotcha.
vehicle.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay,
I move the public portion be closed and the resolution accepted on roll call vote.
roll call, please. Oh, there was a second. I'm sorry. Oh,
Oh,
I
sorry.
did not see that. There is a public for each one of those, for each individual one. Mr. Izzo, you're in the public. Please state your name and address, please, for the record. Yeah, I do believe you have to unmute Mr. Izzo.
You guys hear me now?
Yes, we're just going to turn that up a little bit. Go ahead, Mr. Izzo.
All right, Robert Izzo, 21 North Edward Street, Saraville, New Jersey. I just had a quick question. What are we purchasing a Ford Bronco Sport for?
Code enforcement.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
So did we have our motion for that? That was, I believe, Councilwoman Roberts, and then our second was,
Me?
okay, thank you very much. Let's move forward with our roll call vote, please.
Councilpersons Roberts,
Yes.
Valka,
Yes.
Hansi,
Yes.
Toon,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Enoja.
Yes.
Okay, at this point, you'll notice that on our regular meeting agenda, we now have an area listed for correspondence. I'll need a motion to accept the correspondence.
I move that the consent agenda communications be received and filed under roll call vote.
Second.
Do we need a listing of all of those as listed? Okay, so for those individuals that are not with the public document in front of them, I do believe since this is the first time that we're doing it in this particular manner, if you wouldn't mind just to read out, please, the department reports. Usually this is found under our agenda session. It's now been moved more appropriately to our business meeting.
Okay, the minutes for the boards and commissions are the Environmental Commission for December, the Planning Board for December. I can't pull it any closer. It's just, that's as long as the thing goes. The Environmental Commission for December, the Planning Board for December, the Rent Leveling Board for December and January, Shade Tree for December, and the Board of Health for December. And also resignations from the fire departments or boards of commissions, Michael Marcinsick from President Park Fire, Anthony Rambajam from the President Park Fire Company, and Robert Foley from our Board of Adjustments.
Okay, so now we need a motion. So now we have a motion. We need the second. Okay, so now just our roll call, please.
Councilpersons Novak,
Yes.
Valka,
Yes.
Hansi,
Yes.
Toon,
Yes.
Enoja,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes.
So continuing with the new face of Saraville in a way, and I'm looking at January 23 in front of us. You'll also notice if you have the agenda in front of you that under number 9, mayor and council reports are now going to be moved more appropriately to this meeting. So that way individuals that typically do not stay on long when our meetings run late, you can find out what's happening in each of our boards and commissions without having to wait for our second meeting. So with that, we're going to begin with administration and finance, which is our newest councilman, Councilman Balca. If you have anything to report under your committee, now would be the new time to do so.
Thank you, Mayor. We're just busy wrapping up our 2022 financials and we're starting to work on our 2023 budget. Otherwise, progress.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I suspect that as the year goes on, these reports will start to get a little bit more long and exhausting. Let's take a look at public safety. Councilwoman Juneforth, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'd like to take out this time to appreciate our police officers. We just recently celebrated the National Law Enforcement Day. Also to our EMS, the firefighters, everyone. Our town has been well protected. We would like to thank our acting chief at the moment, Chief Plumacher. Thank you so much. Our firefighters for putting out the fires that has been going on in town. We'll also like to thank our business administrator for always keeping us up to date. Thank you so much. And also for the Human Relation Commission on February 16th of 2023, we'll be having our Black History Month speaker. He's also a teacher at one of our schools and he'll be speaking here at 7:30 at Borough Hall. And we also have a link that will be going out on Borough Blast pretty soon. We already spoke to the media personnel, Mrs. Julie. So if you're not able to come in person, you can also watch the Black History presentation also online. If you have any questions or concerns, you can also email me at Eunice, DWUMFOUR@Saraville.com for any other questions and concern concerning the events that will be taking place or any other public safety issues. Other than that, progress and Happy New Year once again to everyone. And thank you to all of our team and our council people. God bless you all.
Councilwoman Juneforth, it was shared with me by our business administrator that Mr. Jarrett Lampkin's speaking engagement will also be simulcast.
Yes.
So we're moving up in the world, people. We have a lot of, attempts at higher level technology here, reaching as many people as we can. Great work. What attempted, yes, it's an attempt, it's an attempt. We're gonna move to Public Works. Councilman Conti, please.
Hey, thanks. So a couple of things. I got to get with the Director of Public Works to talk about a few things. He did tell me that we were down to 3 trucks out of 8 for sanitation, I believe it is, which is a concern. I know he said that we've got 2 new ones on the way. I don't know if there's an ETA on that. I don't know if you know that, Denise or Glenn. Is that something that you have an idea?
The supply chain for chassis has been horrific for the last 3 years. We can follow up and see if at least the chassis have been delivered, and we'll get a report back to all of you.
Okay. Yeah, because we don't want to jeopardize service. They do a nice job as it is. But I know you expressed some concern that we've got only 3 of 8. But I will get with George to talk a little bit about that and see if there's anything, a pressing concern that he needs to address. So we'll see what he says. I do need to sit with him and Jay as well about the roads, just to ensure we're on the same page with paving, which roads, and then have them posted. I know that there is a list already out there. I just want to convene with those guys and just make sure of what our plan is for 23 and what opportunities we may have beyond that, if any at all. So I'll be chatting it up with the 2 of them as well. And I'm going to stay close with the shade tree. I really want to see this apple orchard on Weber come to fruition, and I think it's going to happen. So we'll be excited to start cleaning up that area and, you know, make it look nicer for everybody. So more reports to come, obviously, with hopefully some greater progress there.
So in reference to our apple orchard that you're referencing, I don't think that many people know what that's in reference to. I only just heard about it very recently. I'm going to defer over to our business administrator for more information regarding that.
I attended the Shade Tree Commission.
Help me out here. Be loud. Come on.
That's usually never a problem.
I know.
I met with our Shade Tree Commission this week specifically to discuss that project and moving that forward. And also tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I have a meeting with Dr. Maslow from Rutgers about discussing next steps to implement phase 1 of the Weber Avenue larger scale project to reforest and reclaim that area for open space.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move forward with water and sewer environmental. Councilwoman Roberts, please.
First, I want to send my condolences to Lieutenant Gerald T. Barbados family. I saw that he had passed away. He was a lieutenant. And I also want to extend my condolences to Mr. Ken Scott, who lost his son recently. I do want to repeat my CERA update, because I did tell everyone I'm on CERA and I want to be completely transparent about what goes on there. We had our last meeting on December 8th. Our next meeting will be this Thursday at 6:30, room 308, right here in Borough Hall. At our last meeting, the redevelopment agency considered and approved 2 redevelopment agreements, or RDAs. The first was for Club Pure on Route 35. This proposed project involves the tearing down of the club and the construction of a modern self-storage facility. The redeveloper and Site Development Partners LLC have worked with EMS so that the squad members will be able to park on the property and also have easy access to the EMS building. The next step in this project is for the redeveloper to go through the planning board process. At the same time, the redeveloper will most likely be talking to Sarah and be seeking approval for a pilot from the council. This has not happened yet, so there is no pilot on that. The discussion has not happened. The second RDA approved by Sarah was for the Sayreville Landfill Number 3 project off Journey Mill Road. The landfill project involves the construction of 1 or 2 cold storage warehouses on the old landfill site, and for the redeveloper to assume the borough's environmental responsibilities for maintaining the landfill. This landfill redevelopment project has the potential to bring in millions of dollars to the borough, depending upon whether 1 or 2 cold storage warehouses can be built and relieve the borough of some of our environmental liabilities. The next step is for Sarah to complete discussions with the redeveloper on a purchase contract, which contract will be needed to be finalized and approved by the Borough Council, which it has not yet, but that's the stage that those two pieces are in. So that's the update from the December meeting. Our next meeting is this Thursday to continue that. I do want to reiterate what Councilwoman Novak said about the planning board. We are waiting for attorneys to be identified. We have an RFP out that should be back February 14th for that board. There was a conflict. The reason we have no attorney on the planning board currently is because our current borough attorney was the planning board attorney and cannot hold both seats. So they had to vacate the planning board seat, have taken up the seat here. So we had to go back out for RFPs expected on February 14th. There are also the vacancies that were brought up. Those are the mayor's appointments. We also have the same problem with the zoning. There is an RFP out for the zoning attorney. That attorney has a conflict because they work for another developer in town, so they had to step down. So we're going out for RFPs for our zoning also. And some of you here know that I've been asking and searching for the 3 seats for the zoning board. So I hope some of you have thoughtfully considered applying for that. We do need people who are quite responsible and will do the best for Sayreville to manage those positions on the zoning board. So I'm hoping that we get some very qualified submissions for that. Mayor, you did make some appointments earlier, and I do want to recommend for our Environmental Commission. I noticed that we hadn't done those yet. We have 3 who have reapplied. First is Shirley Reed. Second is Heather Mayara, who has done a wonderful job as the secretary. And finally, Anton New. He was an alternate, and I want to recommend that he be moved to a permanent instead of alternate. And some of the reasons why is Anton has been a lead on the community garden. He is himself a master gardener. He's provided a great program for the garden community, brought in another master gardener and taught us all about crossbreeding of plants. And it was a wonderful program. And I'd like to see more of that from him. And I do hope that these 3 people who are very committed to this commission would be considered for appointment by you because they are your appointments.
Yes, so in reference to the Environmental Commission, you will get no argument from me about all of those names that you put forth. They have really been instrumental in not just what we've done over with the community garden, but in so many other aspects of the town in reference to environmental concerns. I think one of the biggest ones that we had here that many of you were present for was discussion about the power plant that was going up in Woodbridge, when we were able to have a very honest discussion about the impact that that particular power plant was going to cause potentially for Sayreville. The Environmental Commission, I was so just very proud, and I was also enlightened, and I was provided with so much information. And I believe that I think it's up to how many now towns, almost well over a half a dozen towns. I think we're somewhere around maybe 10 towns that are actually opposing that exact same power plant that we did through the advice of our Environmental Commission. So the only reason why I did not officially appoint them yet was because I wanted to personally touch base with them one last time since they were my appointment. And let them know that I appreciated that work and see if there was any additional members that they had seen. Says, I don't know every single person that puts in for those recommendations. If there was another person that they saw that they wanted to turn around and add to their already great flock of volunteers. So those appointments will absolutely be coming forth. That's just because I did not reach out to them personally yet. Because I do believe, let's see, isn't there another vacancy on there? Let me say. Yes, I wanted to also make certain that we had the correct people appointed because some of them have to be from open space, very similar to Commission on Aging. I wanted to make sure that that commission was and that board was being done appropriately.
I did see a letter on that, Mayor, where
Yeah.
it says 3 people and they'd like it changed to 1 person from open space.
Yes.
To just 1. Would we have to change the ordinance to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
we're
one.
Pursuing that.
Yeah. That was one of the other reasons why I held off, because there were some things that they were asking for. Obviously, the Environmental Commission appointment that I did make, though, was in reference to the planning board, because I needed to make sure that one of our members on the planning board is also one of the members on the Environmental Commission. So I want to try and do things in the correct, appropriate, legal manner. Because the decisions that come before these boards, people don't realize really do have serious impact on what happens in our day-to-day here. So thank you, though, Donna, and I agree with you. We have excellent, excellent volunteers, and hopefully we'll get some more volunteers for some of the other boards and commissions as well.
I have been actively pursuing that. Now, that's the Environmental Commission, which I am the liaison for. I'm also liaison for Water and Sewer. I want to highlight, because I did promise I would give highlights for the seats that I'm on. December water production, for anyone who's interested, is 140.3 million gallons. We had 3 water main breaks in December. We have a lead and copper mandate. We have to identify who has lead and copper pipes because we need to replace all the lead pipes. If you do get a letter from the water department asking about that, it is the water department that needs to know. It's a mandate from the state that every municipality has to perform. During the month of December, we had 306 routine and 33 emergency related markouts. We cleared 25,825 feet of sewer main, 700 feet of which was root cutting operations. We had 6 sewer backups and 4 of those were homeowner issues and 358 work orders. So they're working really hard for all of you. And just because it's worth mentioning, the fire department last year, they had 162 responses to fires, and there were 968 fire department incidents. So that's a lot of work they do for us, just out of the kindness of their heart. So I want to thank them all for all the work they did last year and that they do this year also. Sorry, this is a lot. The Shade Tree Commission, they were concerned about trees from the Ernston Road project. And yeah, so they are looking into it. They're concerned about where those trees are coming down, who's cutting them down, if they're being managed. I don't know if it's premature to ask that question yet. Has it been looked at? The Mernston Road Community Center?
Yeah, I'll have to look into that for you.
Okay, thank you. I do want to say that the Shade Tree also, Dunkin' Donuts, which is down by ShopRite, they have looked into and would like to put a barrier of fir trees on the borough's land behind the homes on, what street is that? Holly Drive. Yeah, it got cut off on here, to help with the noise barrier. There is something on our agenda meeting about the rent leveling board. So there's something there. Board of Health, I sat at the Board of Health's last meeting and I have asked the borough attorney to cross-reference all of the inconsistencies with our current ordinance and the TNR ordinance that the council had unanimously passed. I did speak with Denise. Well, I emailed Denise. She had given me the good news that we are not in the state health benefits. So if you see anything in the news about the state health benefits going up 22% and how municipalities are going to be in trouble trying to finance that, we are in the clear. We are not in those state health benefits. So congratulations, a little bit of good news for today. I do want to talk about our internship program and thank Nicole and the clerk's office. It's doing really well and it should be continuing. The other councilwoman had already talked about Black History Month, which will be held here February 16th. There's also Comic Relief, the Domestic Violence Task Force, the Comic Relief fundraiser. What day is that, though? We just got
January 26th.
January, this Thursday. Okay, I knew there was a reason I couldn't go because I'll be here for Sarah, but it is a very nice time. If you haven't gotten your tickets, I do recommend that. And the Office on Aging, it's winter time. And they have a snow removal program. It was implemented to provide assistance to residents in need of snow removal. The office has a list of local residents who can provide this service for a fee. The cost would be agreed upon by both parties before the work would begin. The office is also interested in those who have equipment to remove snow and also welcomes students willing to provide these services towards fulfilling their community service commitments. You can call the Office on Aging if you're interested in that program in either direction, receiving the services or providing the services. Okay. And is that all I've got? I think, was that enough?
Yeah.
All right, I did want to make sure I informed people of the committees I was on, so I hope that was sufficient. Thank you for your time, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Roberts. We're going to move to Recreation. Councilman Novak, please.
Yes, my first report for recreation.
I know.
I received this, it's on. I can't pull it any
You just
further.
have to look right into it.
Yeah, but I can't read my phone then. Okay, let me see. Okay. The Recreation Department, Parks Division, and Library are collaborating on installing a story walk at Kennedy Park. This consists of signs around the path that can be changed to put in various stories for children's books or nature facts or scavenger hunts. This will be a great amenity to the park. And they're working very hard on that also. Okay, here we go. I received notice today from the NJRPA Awards Committee that the Sayreville Recreation has won the Special Events Programming Award for the Camp Kindness Day event to be held at the summer, that was held at the summer camp last year. This award will be formally presented at the NJRPA Annual Conference on March 14th. Other than that, progress, Mayor. In the February meeting, they will be setting up the schedule for most of the events during the year, so I'll be making a report on that then.
Yes, that's actually, rec is usually our longest report. Today it was our shortest one, but it grows every year. Congratulations to that entire rec board and to our entire recreation department for getting that award. Nicely done. Planning and zoning, Council President Anoha, please.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I want to thank Councilwoman Roberts as well for speaking towards, some of the items from planning and zoning, especially with the progress of starting our new term, right? When it comes to planning, and at least for planning, swearing in our new chair and our new vice chair as well for this term. I do want to state for the record, I'm looking forward to working with our vice chair. I think Mr. Dan Buchanan,
That's correct.
former Borough Council President. And we also have current RFPs out for planning and zoning for a new attorney. And, when that's attended to and, we begin meeting, one meeting I'm looking forward to is with our Board of Education. By this time last year, we negotiated a land swap, and they'll be, working towards a capital improvement project on a, I think they hate when we call it a depot, but I'm sorry, that's what I know it as, a transportation depot. And, I know for the most part, they work with our Sayreville Planning Board upon request. So, I am publicly requesting that, Dr. Labby and the current superintendent and the rest of the Board of Education follows, Sayreville Ordinance 26-10.2A, that they meet with our Sayreville Planning Board upon our request. And we'll begin to review, not to approve, but at least to review what they have going on in terms of their bus transportation depot. So that's one meeting I'm looking forward to having. I'm looking forward to, being transparent with you all as a borough towards the details that they have and working with our planning board towards that as well. And again, progress overall. I want to thank our second chair on, in terms of liaisoning to the planning board, Councilwoman Roberts, for speaking towards more details on that as well, from having folks, having more volunteers and, starting this new year with our committees. So thank you again, overall progress, I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that update also. And I second that. I look forward to all of the things that our planning board has to look forward to this year. But more importantly, just for my report, which I'll keep as brief as possible. Once again, this is a dawning of a new day here, January 2023, 2023. You'll notice that there are already some changes. And that's one of the things that I think we need to start embracing here. We need to start actually moving Sayreville forward and not just saying we're moving Sayreville forward. So I hope that you appreciate the fact that we have moved our agenda meetings a little bit. So now you can actually hear directly from each council person upfront and early about what they're working on in their respective liaison positions and on their committees. That's what you're here to find out about. That's what you want to know about. And this is going to be your opportunity in the public portion also to comment on those things. We need to be more transparent. We need to communicate more. And this is wonderful. We've got a packed house, so I can only assume that we have residents that have some things that they want to talk about. I do want to address just a couple of things. Number one, in reference to the water department checks on the infrastructure for individual homes. I know that that's been a concern for some people, not certain whether or not that was a legitimate notice. I'm going to ask our business administrator to make sure that we get a little bit more social media out on that, so people know that that is a real letter and it's a benefit to them. It takes all of about 3 to 5 minutes to allow our water department to come in. They are all labeled, well, I shouldn't say labeled, they're all identified with, borough official IDs and forms. So they should be coming to your home, identifying themselves as such, and let them do their job so we can keep you safe. Next thing, in reference to Ernst and Road, I also want to say thank you to our business administrator. He's really been working hard in just a short amount of time. For taking my call so quickly in reference to, number one, the lighting disaster that was occurred over by the wall, the infamous wall, the wall that came crumbling down. We did get new lighting upgraded over there, and that was quick with, I think, 24 to 48 hours of me making that call. It was an absolute nightmare driving down that road. You had about 3 seconds, if you didn't realize that that road turned, to hurry up and try to avoid what was left of those bricks. Unacceptable. And one of the most disturbing things that I've seen within our town in a while is to think that vandalism caused that. To turn around and think that, and I want to thank our police officers along with the state and the county for stepping in as quickly as they did in reference to securing that area and also working to hopefully find the individual or individuals that were responsible for that damage, regardless of whether or not we like what went on over there. Because I have my own feelings about it. I miss my trees. I miss the deer. I miss the whole thing. It is difficult to turn around and tell somebody that owns property what they can and can't do with it, as long as it complies with whatever our ordinances and laws are. But you can't turn around and start taking it upon yourself to create a safety disaster, turn around and create an eyesore, and then turn around, delay a project and create nothing but havoc in the morning for our residents, for our school children, and for every single person out there. That is not the way Saraville is supposed to act. That is not the way we care about our town. We're going to deal with whatever is over there. I know that our business administrator can speak on a lot of the improvements, as well as Jay, that is going to eventually happen over in that site with straightening of that road, changing that road. And we're going to fight really hard to make certain that that developer beautifies that as much as possible, because every single day that I drive by there, I miss the color green and I want to see more of it. And we have to be steadfast up here as a council and say no to plans that don't fit what we want to see in our town. I'm still going to fight, and you're still going to hear me say that road needs to be built over there. We're just at the beginning of what we're going to need to address in reference to that development and other ones coming forward. Just to clarify a couple of things, because I'm getting very big on wording here. Councilwoman Roberts mentioned that there was a conflict on the planning board regarding our attorney. That's actually not correct. It's not a conflict. It's an avoidance of a conflict. Our attorney that is currently seated to my left, it would have been a conflict if he stayed on the planning board. It is not a conflict. He stepped down, obviously, to serve in this role. So now we're going to move forward and actually have an attorney there that can represent the planning board appropriately. However, I will rely on his knowledge, because obviously you know a lot about planning and zoning, and we can use that up here as well. When it comes to the zoning board, however, this is the first that I'm truly trying to understand what the conflict is in reference to that attorney, because it was just brought to my knowledge that there is a conflict there regarding the representation of the developer that is currently in process.
He recused himself.
He did recuse, okay.
And we just never got any other RFPs. That's
Right,
the problem.
exactly. So these are one of the reasons why we have to really be steadfast on our professionals and who's serving us and who's making decisions and advising our boards that have to vote. That takes care of everything that I have to say. And let's move forward with our public portion, because we've got a lot. Wow, hands are, I'm going to start with some newer faces that I have not seen. I don't see any online, so I'm going to start on the left. Young lady, please. and then start making my way across. Please remember, I'm slightly vertically challenged. So if you're beyond the podium, I'm not ignoring you. You just might have to raise your hand up a little higher.
Hello,
Hello, good evening.
Paula Duffy, 111 Merritt Avenue. I'm here on behalf of the little terrible, long ignored pocket park at the end of Evelyn Terrace. That park, I was told by someone in the recreation department, has not been upgraded in 30 years. I'm going to tell you it's over 40 years because I've lived in that neighborhood for 40 years. Nothing has been done to it except they come and put mulch down and that's it. I was told also that there was concern about renovating or upgrading this park because it borders on South Amboy. And then South Amboy residents would get the benefit of it. I go to many different parks with my granddaughter in Sayreville, in South Amboy, in South River, in Monmouth County. And I really don't think that that's a concern, that anyone would be so petty as to not upgrade it for their citizens because it borders to another town. Finally, I would just like to request that monies be allotted for major improvements and renovations to this park. Please drive by it and you'll see what a mess it is. And finally, I'd like to be kept informed of the progress. I see now that Mrs. Novak is the liaison. I had spoken to Michelle last year and she told me to come before the board this year to plead my case for this little park. So thank you all very much and good luck to all of you in the coming year.
Thank you very much, Ms. Duffy. Appreciate seeing you. The business administrator, if you want, you can go
Yeah.
ahead, address now.
Mrs. Duffy? Yeah, hopefully this makes your day. The Evelyn Terrace Park is on the capital list for this year. We're still working on the budget, but it is a priority for the Parks Department.
Look at that.
Let's not set the bar too high.
I think she might come back next time. Nice done. That was very good. For the record, I agree with you. When it comes to South Amboy and Sayreville, let's face it, you got to go through one to get to the other and then go back through it again. So as mayor, and I don't think anybody here on the council would ever turn around and say that we wouldn't turn around and do improvements to a park because it's too close to our sister town, which is, really the lines don't even exist at a certain point. You're going in one, out the other to go back in. So look at that, Miss Duffy. Congratulations. You're 1 for 1, batting 1,000. Let me see. There are a couple new faces here. So those that come often, I'm going to not ignore you, but just skip for 1 second. All the way in the back, gentleman with his hand up, please come forward. Blue shirt. Yes, that's you.
Nobody behind you there.
My name's Rich Pancannon. I live at 18 Lewis Street. I've been here 27 years with my family. The issue that would like to discuss is the proposal to an LLC building a 36,000 square foot building on Ernston Road between Villanova and it would be Bordentown. From what I understand, the developer owns several parcels of property in the town. One is listed as being off Ernston Road. It happens to be on Lewis Street. My understanding is they plan on putting a parking lot between 200 and 500 cars on this facility site, using the house that's on Lewis Street as either an entrance or an exit to commercial property. Now, the streets around that area are they're just one lane. That's all they are. People park on both sides of the streets. Families walk their pets. Kids are out there on their bicycles playing left and right. And if they're going to use that house as an entrance or exit for 400 or 500 cars, the quality of life for the people in my little community is going to go to the toilet, to be honest with you. As it is, if 2 cars are parked on either side of the road, to move cars around each other, it does get cumbersome. Forget about the fact that once the parking lot that they're proposing is full, where are they going to park? In our neighborhood. So you have only two ways in to my area. And that's off of Parkway and Center. Both connect to Ernston. At the current time, at certain times of the day, it takes me 15 minutes to go on to Ernston due to traffic. This is without 400 to 500 cars, okay? If there's no study done, okay, just on the traffic aspect, you will wind up having traffic from Westminster Boulevard all the way, and that's on the other side of Route 9, all the way up to Villanova and all the way up to Bordentown. And forget coming the other way. We opened up that tunnel, the bridge, and we still have traffic at 5 o'clock. It still takes you 20 minutes to get from ShopRite to Ernston Road. I just don't understand how this is going to happen. I would like at least some type of study done as far as traffic goes, because this is going to devastate the quality of life in our little area. I only have 3 blocks behind me. And the only entrance for all those people, all the taxpayers that live there are those 2 streets, Center Street and Parkway. And I just can't fathom the traffic from this facility. I'm not saying they shouldn't build there. What I'm saying is something should be done to find out if that size building should be that size, maybe smaller, maybe not saying you can have 400 cars parked there, because as it is now on certain weekends, there's over 200 cars parked wherever they want to park on property that they own currently. So that's my concern. I don't want to see my neighborhood turned into a parking lot.
Thank you very much for
Thank
those
you.
comments. I appreciate that. So I can defer both on my left and my right side. I think I'll start with my attorney on that, because it's my understanding that we're talking about the facility on Ernston Road that we've had a couple of people come and speak at quite a few of our meetings, and then I'll also defer over to our business administrator that also is knowledgeable about where we are within this process. Gentlemen, we're going to start over here with the business administrator, and then we'll come over here to the attorney if needed. Go ahead.
Okay, I could share with you that not 6 hours ago, I was on the phone with the county engineer's office. They called to inquire about, well, let me back up a second. It's a multi-phase process to get a project approved, planning, zoning and whatnot. When it occurs on a county road, there's the added burden to the applicant to also have to get approval from the county planning board. I did have a discussion with the county engineer's office. I specifically expressed to them my concern that there would be overflow parking going into Parkway Homes due to the nature of the streets, and they will be integrating that into their report. I will also tell you that with an application of this size, and the counselor can correct me if I'm wrong, that is generally required that a traffic engineer do a traffic study for consideration by the boards who are destined to either approve or deny an application like that. But it's under active discussion with various agencies involved in the decision-making process, and we're very early in the process.
Okay. Coming over here, anything to add?
Just to follow up on the administrator, application of this size, there will definitely be a traffic study, because the board will be asking the same questions that you're asking, and you're going to have the opportunity to go to that meeting and be heard. And it makes perfect sense to ask for that. It's going to have a big impact on your community. So that makes a lot of sense. And don't forget, the board has the ability to scale it back too.
Can I ask a question of the attorney? There was a scheduled order to show cause this past week. Can you explain what that is to the people here, and why we brought that up and why it was delayed and when it is scheduled?
This is a new subject, right?
No, this is.
No, this is the same
subject.
community. Yeah.
Okay, no, I was not a part of the order to show cause with this particular community. I was with the mosque. Are you talking about the mosque? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't know the name of so the prior town attorney did file an order to show cause. My firm has substituted in, and we are now handling the litigation. It was to be heard in Superior Court on January 16th. The other attorney became ill and he couldn't make it. So the judge adjourned it to February 3rd. I can tell you, the attorney has assured me that they are not going to use this property illegally anymore, that they're going to file the appropriate. Well. All right, well, so our strategy is to go to court. They've said they're going to file an application. We're not going to agree to dismiss the order to show cause until such time that they submit the appropriate applications. And the judge has the ability to sign the order, which will, they'll have to cease and desist from what they're doing there. So that's why we did that. So the judge has the ability to do that. Yeah, in order to show cause. So I'm not aware of a judge signed an order to show cause from 2021.
I think the distinction is that they've been fined by our
Right.
entities.
And they accepted that as a cost of doing business.
Exactly, which is why we have to go to court and get the order to show cause so that we can potentially shut it down.
Yeah, in order to show cause has the full weight of the law and they have to abide by it. Otherwise, they're going to be looking at serious penalties. We don't have an order to show cause yet. As soon as they file the application, I think that's a step in the right direction, but we're going to be very aggressive on it. February 3rd.
Okay. So I see that I know that there's a lot of people here. Just for the interest of getting everybody to be able to speak, I am going to ask the attorney just to keep a 5-minute shot clock for right now, so that anybody that wants to speak will have the ability to speak and get your points out. I know how frustrating this is. I've been talking to many, many residents over in that area, receiving many, many calls, many, many emails. And this is a, what's the right word I want to use here? It is very, very important that we do everything from a borough perspective appropriately. So that way, any chance we have at making sure that the interests of our town is represented appropriately is done the right way. I don't want to have a misstep. I don't want to turn around and have a situation happen where we don't cross our Ts and dot our Is, because if that happens, we can lose control over some of the abilities that we have to restrict or to keep compliant the individuals looking to build.
Yeah.
It's so I want to make certain, please don't think that I don't want you to come here or that we're not all listening to what you have to say. We want to hear what you have to say. Turn around and go to all of those agencies that are hearing anything in this case. It's my understanding that portions of this did in fact go before the county planning board. I'm still trying to understand how that worked, and then that was postponed and then it was changed. I'm trying to figure out how that worked, because I'm not familiar with the process of, I thought it would have to come before the local planning board first before it went to the higher agency at the county level. We're looking into that as well. There's a lot of questions and a lot of things that are swirling. One of the reasons we were as successful as we were with the affordable housing situation, which was a complete disaster, and we were able to get some remedy to the benefit of our town, was because we handled it appropriately and got the right professionals involved. Talk to us, tell us what's happening, and let our professionals take that information and represent us the best way they can. So I know there's more people that want
say
to
one more
speak,
thing?
of course.
Just related to that, Mayor. So a mosque or a church or a hospital, those are called inherently beneficial uses. So it's very difficult to stop a hospital or a school from being constructed because the land use law recognizes those as a very worthwhile thing that is valuable to the community, valuable to the town. However, one of the absolute components of those applications are traffic, parking, disruption of quiet enjoyment. So those are all things that the planning board can tackle and have a big say in how those things are handled. So there is a opportunity to be heard, and there is an opportunity for the town to have a say. Again, saying no probably doesn't happen, but being in a position to make it work, that would be the goal.
So with that, I know that there's some other young lady in the back. Sorry. Faces that I don't recognize necessarily. I apologize for those that are my usuals.
Hi, guys. My name is Sharon Giuliano. I live at 19 Lewis Street, and I'm also here for the same reason. I just have a couple of questions because I bought my house. I had to get a CO. I put a pool in my backyard, I had to get a permit. I put a fence in my backyard, I had to get a permit. Everything that is going on in this property currently right now is all illegal. And I just don't understand how this is a continuous disaster every single day in our neighborhood. I bought my house. I'm 60 years old. I have my daughter who lives with me and her partner getting ready to have a baby. And I am so overwhelmed with, was there a huge change in the zoning that happened on these 3 properties? Because 2 are residential, 1 is commercial. Was there a huge change in the zoning that happened on this property? And if there was, were we notified of this? None of our. So how is this happening? Am I allowed to like have a church in my basement or in my backyard or a synagogue and just allow this to happen? Were there permits? Where's the CO? The loud noises, the bright lights. Do they have insurance? They have thousands of people that come to this mosque, sometimes on a daily basis. What is going on? What is happening? It's just so frustrating. As you can see, I'm so red. I'm so frustrated. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm just, where's the occupancy permits? Where's all these permits? What's happening? And they are there every day till 10, 11, sometimes 12 o'clock midnight. Loud noises. They have these structures up that are with electricity, with wires. And I don't understand how this is happening. And it's very, very frustrating. I moved here to a quiet little neighborhood and it's not quiet now. And it's very, very frustrating. And what's going to happen, you're going to have all your neighbors, like you're going to have everybody move out. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. I'm sorry. I'm just really upset.
I appreciate your comments and thank you for those. Our business administrator, you want to address that now?
I could tell you that property has been repeatedly cited by code enforcement and will continue to be cited if they are not in compliance with local ordinance. I urge you that if you observe anything going on there that's out of the norm as related to the property, call our code enforcement. And if there's anything out of the norm that's affecting your quality of life, call the police department. That's what we're here for, to address on your behalf. The frustration comes from, if I write you a ticket on a Monday, and you look at that and say, well, I still want to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm willing to pay the fine. We could fine them again on Tuesday and on Wednesday. But as long as they're willing to absorb that cost, there's no nth degree to that where we could say, okay, we're going to lock somebody up over this. That's not a realistic expectation. But code enforcement continues to monitor it. They will continue to cite repeatedly as necessary. And anything with noise or traffic, please contact the police department. I assure you they will respond to the call.
But I can't hear you though when you're back there. So once you separate from the mic, you can come back and add your comments if you want, but we would not be able to hear you from there.
Bless you.
So, Jim or whomever, oh, sorry. Jesus.
Mike Calisi, 44 Bassett Street. So 2 of our community members couldn't make it tonight. They had a wake to go to, so they asked me to come up and just do a favor. So 2 community members are Christopher and Gregory Cunyo. So they're on the, Christopher's on the Shade Tree Commission and the Historical Society. So he would like to extend an invitation to the mayor and the entire council, including everyone else in this room and beyond this room, okay? To attend a fundraiser called I Heart Horror. It's Saturday, February 4th, 12 noon at the VFW on Journey Mill Road, right across from the Starland Ballroom. So it's a Halloween festive festival for Halloween enthusiasts to both celebrate a second Halloween while collecting charity for Deborah Heart and Lung Hospital. Okay, so Deborah is a cardiac, lung, and vascular healthcare resource center, right for the times and right for you for all your healthcare needs. So they're rich in resources, both human and technical, providing a wide spectrum of leading edge diagnostic and therapeutic services. You can tell I wrote this in the car, right? Additionally, Deborah is a center that successfully performed my wife Mary's open heart surgery when she was 16 years old. So she had a hole in her heart the size of a $50. So she was the first recipient to have that newest, most innovative surgery to repair that abnormality at that time. So, and she's still with us today. So, and she's fit as a fiddle. So, Chris and Greg encourage everyone to open your hearts as well as your wallet and contribute to this great charity event, even if you can't make it yourselves, but it's still, he wanted to spread the word.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great graphics online I saw. It's making its way, I know, through social media. So let's hope that a lot of people can attend. Great efforts. Jim, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square. I have something I want to speak about a little bit later, something I discussed with Councilman Anoha. But while I know the zoning board of adjustment is autonomous from the council and ought to be and needs to be, there is something I want everybody, and Mayor, you know this, I'm sure, but I think members of the public ought to know this, and members of the board ought to pay attention to this. 4 times tonight, I heard people talk about traffic study. There will be a traffic study. Of course, there'll be a traffic study. The applicant will do a traffic study. The engineer may review that traffic study, but we have had on the books for probably, well, we put it in when I was chairman of the planning board, so 25 years, an escrow ordinance that says that applicants post fees and the board can use those fees to hire an independent expert, an independent traffic expert, an independent sound expert. Years ago, we had Dr. Dresnak, and if there was an application that we had a concern about sound and its impact on neighbors, we, using the applicant's fees, would hire Dr. Dresnak, who's a professor of engineering at Rutgers. He would come in and do tests and do recommendations, and that would go into the board's decision. I don't know the last time, I don't follow these things as closely as I once did. I don't know the last time that the zoning board or the planning board used the escrow accounts that are posted by applicants to hire an independent engineer for a traffic study or for sound or for anything else like that. I remember during the, and this is one of the things I'm going to talk about later, during the Arsenal application, those gigantic warehouses on Cheesequake Road, I asked the board if they would hire an independent traffic engineer to review the traffic report that the applicant provided. They didn't do that. Well, we know that a professional traffic engineer hired by the applicant, they know who they're hired by. I mean, they have professional standards, I'm sure, but if something can go this way or it can go that way, it's not inconceivable that their opinion might fall in favor of the applicant. So when you tell the good folks in this audience, and I say this for their benefit and for the benefit of the applicant, when you tell them there's going to be a traffic study, yeah, there is, but there should be an independent traffic study. And the board of, and I know the board is autonomous. I know that one member, at least one member of the board is here. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, listening to this, but they ought to do this. We put these things in place years ago so that there could be this impartial, objective opinion from a third party. And I would very strongly suggest, maybe Councilman, that's something you want to talk to you about the boards. The other thing, I do have a concern. I don't know how many members of either land use board are certified. I know when you have an application, as the attorney said, when you have an application that has to do with a beneficial use, especially a church that has, or a religious facility that has other protections, there's always the possibility of litigation. And you want to make sure that, and especially if you have brand new members, you want to make sure that they're certified. You want to make sure that they've taken the courses. You want to make sure that they know what their obligation is to both the applicant, the town, and the neighbors. And that's a little bit, I don't know how many are certified. I would like to get that list of folks on the land use boards who are certified. I know there's a course, I think it's coming up next week.
I think we can ask that. Jess, can you make certain that between the two boards, the zoning and planning board, we know how many of those members
but
have
on-
recent
on-
certifications?
An important application like this, I think it's really important that everybody who sits on the board be entitled to sit on the board, number one, and number two, have those certifications. But most importantly, there's an escrow ordinance there in place to protect the public. It ought to be used by the boards. And Jay, do you know the last time the escrow ordinance was used to hire an independent, not the borough engineer or the borough planner, but somebody outside?
Hi, Mr. Robinson, probably about maybe 30 years ago when you were the chairman.
Well, and I don't take this the wrong way,
Oh, yeah.
but it shows. It
Chairman,
shows.
Chairman, it's
Drive down Cheesequake Road.
5:20.
It's 5:20. Hold.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say one thing, Jim? I
Thank
agree with you about the training, but I was talking to the planning board secretary, and I'm assuming it's about the same thing with the zoning board. When you're appointed, you have a year. to get
18
your
months.
Yeah.
certificate.
You have 18 months.
So you're voting on something for 18 months, and there's two people.
Yeah, well, that's the
on board
maximum. That
aren't
doesn't
even
mean,
required
I
to
mean,
get trained.
and I know my time is up, but when I was president of New Jersey planning officials, I lobbied for that law to make sure that people became certified. The fact that you have 18 months doesn't mean that you can't go take the courses that are next week, or I think the first or second week of February. I mean, any conscientious board member would do that, I'm sure.
I think there shouldn't even be any exceptions. I was surprised to hear that two planning board members are exempt from taking the classes at all. I don't think, if anybody's going to vote on those.
Yeah, the class 1 and the class 3 are exempt.
Yeah.
So I think we can do something very quickly right now, because I'm 100% in agreement with you, Jim, when it comes to the importance of independent studies, not just in reference to traffic, but other things relating to developments, depending on what type of development they are. So I would suspect that I would need council approval for this, that that you as a council and myself also as mayor,
So Mayor,
make
just-
a
I'm
request.
sorry, because you asked me a question and
Yes.
we can't really try to influence which way they're going to go. So I would say, it's certainly, I think you could say that you think it makes sense. But
Okay.
I wouldn't want it to be a directive that you're
Okay.
saying that they have to use the escrow mechanism to hire professionals, but you might say it certainly makes sense.
Okay, so I like that. So since we want to make sure that we do not violate anything, I know myself, and maybe if the rest of the council were to echo those sentiments, that it certainly makes sense to turn around and have developers, individuals looking to come in to the town, use their escrow funds in order to get those independent studies for projects coming before the borough. It makes sense. So is there anybody on the council that would disagree that it
No, I
makes
just have-
sense?
I just have a question about it. If it's on the books and it was a tool available to us, why don't we just go ahead and use it? Do we need an ordinance?
Well, I think what happens is, and I'll defer over to our attorney again, what can we legally do? Because we can't put pressure as elected officials on zoning board members to do something. We can't tell them what
Understood.
to do.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we can help educate them on the tools they have available to them to do this.
Mayor, you're a member of the planning board.
Yep.
Why can't you, as a member of the planning board, just, go?
From a
in there and
planning
tell-
board perspective, I can, and I have a designee on that planning board as well. So it's either my voice or through my, appointed individual. I'm not concerned about that aspect of the planning board. I think that my voice is very much echoed through my designee. I feel comfortable with that designee. That's why I removed the previous one. I'm happy with the one I have now. The zoning board, though, is outside of my reach. And, it's that quasi judicial board. So I think letting them, hear that to us, it makes common sense, hopefully will echo in their minds.
I'm sure they'll hear about it.
I'm sure they'll hear about it. I know that at least one person might hear about it. They're kind of,
Somebody just might.
they might. But I want our public to know that. I mean, these are some of those common sense things that I don't think have necessarily been brought out in this public forum like this. We need to start moving forward smartly. Okay, so nobody from the board, nobody from the council here. I don't think we can, because that would then turn around, put undue pressure on that board. We can't turn around and do
Yeah, I
that.
would just let it be. The minutes will reflect that you think it was a sensible idea, and then that's.
Yeah. All right, well, we have more hands going up. Steve, I'm sorry, his hand was up first, and I'll bring the rest of you up. Steve, come on up.
Almost got myself. You tried to do that, didn't you, Vicky? Stephen Melanowski, 28 Scarlet Drive. Well, first, I want to commend the mayor and council for bringing those agenda topics up at this portion of the regular meeting. That's very helpful. But I'm going to go back to, in the spirit of transparency, I brought this up a long time ago. Checks and balances here, you're hearing it. I know formally I brought up the planning board. Jim's made a really good point. They're a legal entity. I was told we could even sue them. Not that we want to sue them because we're suing ourselves, but we need some sort of checks and balances. And one of the things I even recommended for transparency is maybe periodically during the two meetings we have during the month, maybe one of those chair people from that committee could come here and give the critical topics that they're working on to the residents. Because to me, the residents, that's the whole purpose of the council and the mayor. So if everything under it is going left, right, whether it's Cheesequake, traffic, we've heard about traffic forever from Fulton's Landing and affordable housing. And like you said, can you use their monies to do it? Why aren't we doing it? And if we say we can't do it, well, I'm told previously by our former attorney that they're legal entities. Well, let's put the legal screws to it to get these issues, because I've heard over and over about the mosque and everything else, and where's the permits? Like you said, I had to get a permit for my pool, do this, my fence. Why are they getting away with it? Why isn't something happening to force that issue? And we have a committee that's not doing it, then get rid of the damn committee, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do for the purpose of the residents. And I would hold the council and the mayor responsible to rein it all in. So if you can get the head of the planning board to come in here and let us beat them up if we have to. I mean, and let them hear our point of view. And we're appointing them. And I think we heard you're appointing a whole bunch of people. Well, are they doing our bidding for the residents or for what? So that's my point. But again, thank you for bringing this to this side of the meeting, because there's more information tonight than previously. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Go to those planning board meetings too.
No, but see,
Go to those
no,
also.
but see, that's the point. If you can have them here, we can't all our residents, we have lives and families. We
No,
can't
I
go-
understand, but I'm just saying that they have that's their business meeting too. So you want to go to those also, because they won't be able to do the business here. By all means, have them come here and speak, but you got to watch what's happening on those meeting nights.
But see,
Because that's when
the-
their actions take
Right,
place
but
too.
that's my point. The residents can't really go out and be going to 10 meetings all over the place when the bottom line is it's got to come up through here. So let's get it to the point where us as residents can come to a single point of reference for transparency and voice our opinion.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve. Okay. Young lady in the back.
Hello, can you hear me? This is my first time here ever.
Okay, just name and address first.
Kimberly Fasaponte, 115 Roosevelt Boulevard. I'm noticing all this talk about the, I guess, community center or whatever it is on Ernston Road. I understand they have 3 properties or 3 parcels or 3 blocker lots or whatever. Are they up to date on paying taxes for all 3? I mean, isn't that a way to get in if they're not paying taxes? And if they're not, is it because they're religious? Because like the other woman said, I would like to stop paying taxes and make my garage a place for commune to, I don't know, be religious. So no, it's a serious question. I really do want to know, are they paying taxes? If not, isn't that a way to get them to stop doing what they're doing on their property? And how do I stop paying taxes in a religious way?
It's a good question. Denise, do you have that information? We would have to look at. I mean, I think we would all be very happy right now if we didn't have to pay taxes. But Denise, do you know offhand whether or not they're up to date on their tax roll? I would suspect, because this has been such a very high profile situation right here, that I would suspect that Joe has been looking
can find out
into
for
that.
you.
We'll find
Yes.
out to double check, but I am pretty confident that that was
email
part
address.
of
Okay.
what's been looked at.
And it is on 3 different properties, like, so,
Yeah.
I mean, they have to,
If you
on
could just be
3.
kind enough to give us your email address, either
Yeah.
Denise or myself will email you in the morning.
Okay, and I do really want to know, what are the steps? Do you have to pay taxes if you're religious? Like, are they gonna have this big thing and not pay taxes and contribute to the rest of the community?
Law and tax deferment when it comes to religious
Yes,
entities.
some religious organizations do not have to pay taxes. We'll have to see how this one plays out.
Yeah.
The property is classified as zoning.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. Some religious organizations do not have to pay taxes. We'll have to see how this particular application is considered and zoned. So I don't have the answer for you.
Okay,
But-
so that is something that, I mean, I could just buy the property next door to me and claim this.
So the tax assessor would look at your house and your garage and say that it's not the same thing as a hospital or a school or a church, probably.
Well, we can't call out though, please, please, please.
I'm guessing what they're saying is right now that this place is not, I mean, they're claiming it that way. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but
Yeah, I don't know the ins
I
and outs
know,
of it
I
either. That is
don't.
not
I'm just,
my-
I don't know if my 5 minutes is up. I'm just trying to understand if this place is gonna be part of this, they should be paying taxes. And if they're not, why is it fair for them not to? And why can't I, pray or do whatever I'm gonna do in my own place and have people come? Why do I have to pay taxes and contribute? I mean, that's a legit question, is it
I
not?
understood. I just leaned over and said, when it comes to deferment for religious entities and other things, that is mostly federally regulated and then like,
Federal law, the
Fed-
the RLUIPA law.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, in some communities, people do take their residences and make them into places of worship, and they are considered tax exempt. I'm not going to tell you, what,
That's crazy.
I don't know how you do that or what makes it a house or a place of worship, but there
Yeah.
are communities where that happens.
Okay, well, is this gonna be a community that it happens?
Well, we're going to go into court. We're going to tell the judge that they're violating the law. They
Okay.
haven't filed any applications. They're disrupting the community. They're making noise, keeping people up at night. They're creating traffic safety,
Yeah.
public safety issues. And we're just going to fight in court to try to get it
Okay.
done. They're going to, if they don't file the application before the board, then we're just going to get the judge to hammer them. And which is
Okay.
basically,
Is
Yeah.
there a way to remove them from doing what they're
yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, to get them to cease and desist.
Right, yeah, okay. I mean, is it just letters or can they like physically take these people and say,
Yeah.
hey?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Yeah, we're learning as we go. And that's one of the things. I mean, Saraville, we haven't been faced with, some of the things that we're faced with right now within this particular situation. We've had similar things. But we are definitely doing our due diligence, I think, with the professionals, with our departments, in order to really try and protect something that could go wrong. You know, you don't want to lose complete control of the horse because you react to something and you do it the wrong way. I know it sounds like we're being very careful and we're walking very carefully, but sometimes one word coming out of somebody's mouth at a microphone can turn around
It's recorded.
and really cause a problem here. Listen, I feel the frustration from all sides, but I think this is the healthy conversation. Ask us the questions. Let us try and get the answers that we can. Have faith in what our police are doing, what our code, what our zoning, and what our attorneys are doing. Have some faith. I know it's hard because it's your everyday lives, but we're not ignoring this. Promise you that. Additional individual, any other residents from that area that would like to come up and just put anything that they need on the record that hasn't spoken yet, please, sir. Okay, I do see a hand up over here. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Michael Weaver, 10 Parkway Place, Parlin. I was here on September 12th. The order was given for them to clean up the property, remove the trees and stuff like that. There's still dead trees laying there. They haven't pushed over. They have them laying on top of cinder blocks that they dumped there. There's garbage all over the place. They're still going there at night, 10, 11 o'clock at night. What was it? Last Thursday, I believe it was. They were there 10:30 at night. And there was a guy doing burnouts in the dirt parking lot with the lights on. The light's still on the property up until almost midnight. Now that shines right into my bedroom. If you want, I'll pull my phone and show you a picture of what I see in my bedroom every night, just about. It's getting ridiculous. And come, what is it, March 23rd is when Ramadan starts. That's when they're going to be showing up at 1 o'clock in the morning with 150, 200 cars there. People yelling to park their cars, the attendants telling them where to park and stuff like that. I'm sorry, we can't take this. It's getting out of hand over there. And something needs to be done about that. Now, on a different topic, the park at Bordentown Ave, behind Parkway Homes and between Parkway
Okay.
Homes and Haven Terrace, I believe that is. The town went there to try and open up the one gate there so that somebody could push a stroller through. Homeowner said, no, that's my property. He closed it off. So now on Parkway Ave or Parkway Place, you can't get into the park. You have to go around the block. My daughter's bus stop's on the other side of the park. She has to walk around the block and then walk down a dirt hill. It snows, it rains, needs something done. I talked to someone at the rec department
Okay.
and he said that they're gonna look into it after all the sports are done. I would just like steps built, a walkway
sports.
going across from the dead end road, or even the town coming in and maybe buying that gentleman's property. It's only 3-4 feet by 25 feet where
Okay.
his fence is. If they can remove that fence, and he doesn't want anyone to get hurt on it, but it's been open for 50 years.
Right.
Why all of a sudden now he wants it closed where nobody can cut through?
Gotcha. That you're getting that paperwork so that paper so you can put down your contact info and
Just give me an email address. and your
Email
name.
address?
Yeah, that'd be great, and I'll get back to you in the morning.
I think they're trying to repeat the Ms. Duffy's response with Parks over there. I think we're trying to go 2 for 2 here. That's- So,
You got two, we got his gooseneck microphone. You're done for the night. There you go.
yes, of course, Councilman Nanoha. Council-
Sometime in the morning, you get an email from me, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank
Sir,
you.
You know, you definitely brought this up to me in private.
Yes, when we were walking in the parade.
We're walking a parade probably maybe a year ago or so.
It was, I believe it was Memorial Day Parade. I spoke to you on the walk from down here all the way back to the other side to the start of the parade.
Yeah.
So we can walk in it together.
And, you know, I wanted to really bring that up because from that moment, right, and I'm not sure if Kirk is available, but our code enforcement
I've spoken.
professionals, these were some of, because I know there are folks in the, you know, behind you that may feel as though nothing has been done. But I think what the mayor keeps speaking towards is, you know, have faith in the process. And I think the early stages of the process is for code enforcement to verify the complaints that are being brought forward now and as far back as May, right? And they've done that, and the borough has made some cash on the violations, right? So when someone, there are folks who believe that, oh, if they can do whatever they want with their property, so can we. But in actuality, technically, if you believe you can do whatever you want with your property, if it goes against our existing zoning, you get a visit from code enforcement. If it's under violation, the person receives violations. Usually, most people will make adjustments based on that. But in this case, they have enough money, they want to continue paying it. But those are grounds that I believe we can use from a legal standpoint towards cease and desist. So I really want the folks to understand that things have been done, but there's a process. So we want to really express our gratitude for you consistently coming forward. Sometimes in government, that's what it takes. So I want to encourage you to keep doing it. I believe that there is progress, and hopefully by February 3rd, we can have more details towards a good resolution, even if it means cease and desist, right? So I don't want folks to feel as though nothing's being done, but there's a process, and that's what's being done.
If things don't work out, then on March 23rd, I'm having a barbecue at my house at 1 o'clock in the morning, and anybody can come and see what I see. And because I'm sorry, even Friday nights right now, you go there on a Friday night, 10:30 at night, when people are I work all day. I come home, I want to go to sleep, and I can't because I got light shining in my windows. I'll show you my phone.
Yeah, if you showed me in May, I get it. And if you have a barbecue against zoning, our code enforcement has a new car, they're gonna visit you even faster. But I'm saying that's part of the process. I'm just saying, it's part of the process. It's part of the process, all right? So, and I want you, I want to encourage you to keep coming forward, but I want you to also believe that from a governmental standpoint, the process is being followed, all right? And we're happy to continue working with you on this.
You want to pass to the ladies? I believe you. I know. I've
10:30
gone
at
through.
night, January
Oh, Lord.
13th. That's what I see in my bathroom window. That's what I see in my bedroom window.
Wow. Yeah,
And that's not even all the cars there. The cars already left at that point, half of them.
I've seen this. People have been kind enough to share these also with me. And then one thing that Glenn has mentioned, our business administrator has mentioned, when there's circumstances that are impacting your quality of life, when there's hazardous situations and things, those are things that need to be reported. Okay? That documentation needs to happen. You shouldn't have to deal with that. Please report that to the authorities and to the people that are for that particular violation. It's going to help. And let us get involved in that. Let our police, I know that the chief is here, and I know that he's been working very diligently on everything that he can from his legal perspective and what our police officers, we have officers here today. I know that they're trying to do everything that they can within the power of the law.
They've received a couple calls from me.
Yeah, that's what we're also trying to do as well with our code enforcement, making sure that we don't overstep our bounds and that we stay within our parameters of what we can enforce. So that way, when we bring what we have done as a municipality from all agencies, this is how we have tried to address violations appropriately. My worry would be that if we overstep those bounds, what would be the ramifications on the applicants that are trying to build? And I want to truly believe that there's a way that we can coexist, but it's got to be in a way that our residents can feel that their community hasn't been completely, torn apart, and that it's within the rules that we all have to abide by as well. Like you said, I can't turn around and build pools in my yard, put up fences, put up this and that. I'm going to get a call and a knock and red tape everywhere. Are they going to rip me out of my home like what some of us would like to see happen over there? No, we know that. You put up a pool inappropriately, you're not getting thrown in jail. And I know that's what some people are like, I can't take this anymore. There's going to be time limits put on this. The courts are involved. There are going to be deadlines, and we have to make sure that we keep doing what we're doing. I am so sorry that you guys have to continue to feel this way and come to the different boards. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to get it done.
Should be done. And that's
Yeah.
the sewage. Because the two houses at the bottom of Ernston Road, as of right now, when it rains out, they get flooded. Their basements sometimes flood. If the town doesn't come in and clean the sewer line, I think my neighbor said twice a year, then their basements flood out.
That's part of
So that's
the,
as of right now, before this building is even being built.
that would have to be part of review at planning board level because that's part of infrastructure. So it's, you don't just have to look at things like traffic, but the little bit that I'm learning is that all of those things have to be taken into account when you're turning around and putting facilities in place. So that is definitely one of the things that's going to have to be addressed, correct, Jay? And it's
That's-
not just sewage, but water
That's what
and
the two neighbors down at the corner are worried about right now. That and also getting out of our development as
Yeah.
it is. This is
listen, I grew up in
horrible.
Laurel Park. My family still lives in Laurel Park. You lived in Laurel Park, you know what sewage means because everything had trees and your, pipes were always getting infiltrated with roots and stuff. It's no different than what's over there.
No, Parkway Homes.
It's the exact
$30,000
same thing.
to do our property.
Exactly. So that is also part of what has to happen before anything can be built out, because those are all those plans that have to be looked at. Not to, that would be from the county, but also local as well, correct? Because you've got the county road there. So there's county impact and then there's local impact, correct?
County would have jurisdiction over the roadway improvements. Borough would have jurisdiction over the infrastructure.
There you go. So additional checks and balances. I'm learning just as much as you guys are as we go. That's why we have these people off on our side. Keep coming up. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. Also from that area? Yes, please come up.
Good evening. My name is Joe Karmazin, 322 Ernston Road. I live directly across the street
Other side.
from the community center. I just recently spoke at the Middlesex County Planning Board meeting. After they told us, after we got there, they pushed it another 30 days. They did allow us to speak, but they called us the day or emailed us the day before to make sure we were coming to the meeting and then conveniently pushed it another 30 days. So now the next meeting is on Valentine's Day in New
I
Brunswick.
heard that.
I'll be there though, because
Yeah.
I'm not letting this go. I also spoke at the Old Bridge Council meeting in November. And Old Bridge is just as angry as we are about what's going on over there.
Yes.
I believe my wife sent you a few emails, Mary, but you never responded back.
I sent it over to our attorneys and stuff because my concern is if I put something in writing and if it goes someplace else with this because of the litigation. But yes, and I did follow up also. I knew that you had gone to the county planning board and that's
Oh, you
where
did?
I did. And that's where I got some of my information from as well.
Okay.
So, not that I'm saying I'm following you, but I'm kind of following.
No, okay,
you,
no,
so.
that's good. I'm doing this to be seen. I'm learning a lot here, okay?
Yes,
I don't know
me
anything
too.
about this stuff. All I know is my life sucks right now,
Yeah.
okay? This place is like ruining my wife is literally in tears over this. We don't want to sell our house. We just invested money into it. I mean, it's a nightmare. I can't, coming here tonight, backing out of my driveway, someone almost hit me coming out of there. Because they're trying to get out real quick because they can't get out. It's an absolute nightmare. But I wanted to speak a little bit about this letter I have acquired. It's a cease and desist from September 24th, 2021 to Shamir Properties, 216 Ernston Road, signed by Andrew Manchevsky, CC'd Kirk Mick.
Mhm.
Says no occupancy is to occur within the structure until all approvals are attained, conditions are met, certificate of occupancy is issued. Also, all site clearing and construction that warrants permits need to cease immediately. Failure to adhere may result in summonses being issued and maximum fines.
Mhm.
So, like he said, I can get a speeding ticket, and then I can get another one tomorrow, but I only get 12 points on my license. So how many points do they get?
The letter you read, if they don't oblige to that request, they can be summoned.
Right, and why haven't they been?
Fine.
Then they're summoned by the court date is February 3rd, from my understanding.
Oh, okay, because this was a year ago.
And the fines too have continued to mount. Those fines have continued to mount.
And they haven't paid them, correct?
That I don't know. I think they actually have paid. I would have to double check
I think
with
it was up
Kirk
to
on
like
that. I think-
690,000 or something I heard
You know,
last, something
I
ridiculous.
know that my pockets go down about that deep.
Yeah. Well, we
Some
all do. We're
people's
all blue
pockets go
collar
down
here.
a lot further and I wish I had that problem where, money wasn't a way to turn around and deter actions for my family, but for others, I guess that's not really something that's clearly stopping them.
Yeah, well, the
That's
bu- the
and
business
it's
owner
frustrating.
is very savvy, okay? He's been doing this a long time. He's got properties all up and down the East Coast. I mean, going all the way to South Carolina.
Yeah.
He's not new to this game. This guy comes in, he takes over your town. He buys up all these properties, he does what he wants. And I don't know if this is true, maybe you guys could shed some light on this. If they do get this land zoned religiously, do all these fines go away? Does everything get
And I don't
forgiven?
know. I don't
They will
believe
still be
so.
responsible? Okay, so let me ask you this. On the Middlesex County meeting that I plan on going to on the 14th, if they approve this, is this an automatic approval or it still has to get approved through Saraville, correct?
Yeah, oh, no, they still have to go through those
Because they're just
processes.
utilities is
Hold
from
on
what I
one
understand.
second, because I want to make sure, I don't want to misspeak. I do not have a degree in it. So some of the questions are in reference to processes when they go through the different plans. So you're talking about if they go to the county planning board,
Right.
what happens there at that point?
So-
Does that still trigger them to have to come to us? It's my
Yeah,
understanding that
yeah,
that is a
absolutely.
definite yes.
It still has to get approved through the town, even if they approve the that's just the utilities from what I understand, right? Like the county.
They all,
So they would approve
all
ripping up.
different things will be considered at that time.
So-
Traffic, noise, lighting,
Right.
could be infrastructure, facade, things like that.
Okay,
For the record, Kirk Mick just replied to our business administrator.
oh, good.
$600,000 in outstanding fines.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
$600,000
Yeah.
in outstanding.
And still going up, right? I'm still outraged about the trees. I mean, there were so many trees. And when they just chopped them down, I had foxes in my yard. That means they were
They were
this was
living
a
in there.
habitat. Like things were living in there. There was like woodpeckers, all kinds of stuff. I don't think people realize how big it is back there.
I did not realize how
It's
big it was
huge.
back there until, 2.5 acres, like Glenn had just said. But 2.5 acres on that site where, the density there is tight,
Yeah.
I could not believe, I've lived here my whole life and driving past there my whole life. Did not believe how far back
I
that
know.
went.
Same. Once they
It
cut it
was-
down, I was like,
Once it was gone, but
it was unbelievable.
I hope we at least were able to give you some more information and to let you know that there are a lot more checks and balances, and it does have to come back before us from a local perspective as well.
Okay.
But I do think it's important that a presence continue to be at that county planning board as well.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that Valentine's Day is the day, and the time of it
I'll
as well.
celebrate it on the weekend.
Celebrate on the weekend, come dressed in red. It's frustrating. Keep coming to
It's
us. We'll
so
give you the
it's
updates
so
that we can.
frustrating, guys. And like the other neighbor, Michael said, Ramadan is coming. And I got to tell you, it is an absolute nightmare. It is 24 hours a day for a solid month. They have to rent cops. My house lights up like Christmas because they keep the lights on. And it's just red and blue in my house. In every room. I can't. It's just really getting hard living where I live. It's really affecting my quality of life. I can't get into my own driveway at times. I had a guy standing in my driveway the other day. I was trying to just go home from work and he was trying to cross the street to go there. He's in my driveway using it as a crosswalk. It's really affecting my quality of life. And the poor neighbors that share the backyard, once they build this giant building, they're just going to see a giant building in their backyard. I mean, like from here. This lady's fence is here. The building will be right there. And I just don't know how any of this can get approved. Please, guys, we really need you to stand up for us on this one. They're just doing anything they want. And it's not right. Listen, if everything was legal, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be here because I know the town couldn't approve something like the traffic in an area that much for a building that big, but I have never been notified in the mail. I live within 200 feet. I've never gotten one letter about anything they've ever done. Everything I found out was on my own accord, just doing research. It's just, we really need your help. Please.
I do very much appreciate all these comments. At this time, I just want to confer very quickly with the attorney. I know that a lot of people want to continue to speak. Is it in our best interest as elected officials right now to make any additional comments?
No, I mean, I think we've kind of gone up and down in every which way, and things are getting redundant, quite frankly. I mean, I hear it. I know what the issues are. I think the governing body does and the professionals do. So I think we've.
Yeah, it's getting late. Thank you for listening, guys. Really, thank you.
Yes, if there's anybody else that wishes to continue to speak, I'm gonna give you. Yeah, I'm gonna come over on that side. You can come up and speak. I think from this point, we'll keep the 5 minutes on. And I do have somebody, right after you speak, I am gonna go online. Okay, because we did have somebody waiting online. Go
Okay,
ahead.
my name is Kimberly Uvari, 15 Lewis Street, and I am directly behind.
Lewis Street.
Oh, am I too close?
No, we just had to give her your
Lewis.
address.
I
That's
just
okay.
want to give you these. This was, if you just.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
Actually did email you that, Ms. Mayor.
We saw that. Yes, I did see this also.
So, yeah, I
Did the
just
rest
want to
of the council want to
reiterate what everyone is saying. I'm right behind them. That's just a small sliver of what I see, you know, because I see more panoramic. Even the structure that they had, that finally they did take down because it was illegal. There's all still the wood with the nails. There was about 20 children playing on that yesterday, right behind my fence. I mean, isn't that dangerous? If they get sued, like if they don't have a CO and if something happens to someone and there's a lawsuit, who pays for that? I mean, would it be the town? Like, what happens with that?
The owner.
The owner of the property?
Private
'Cause
property.
someone had brought that up to me. Yeah?
There's something called an attractive nuisance. So if you create a condition on your property that attracts little kids or a dangerous condition, you could be liable for that. I don't know anything except for what you're telling me, but there is a legal
But there's
theory called
children
attractive
playing
nuisance.
Because on the weekends, they have, you know, like a daycare or something. I don't know what it is. It's just a lot of different activities every day on the weekends. It's just, I'm right behind them. I mean, I can't really go outside, you know, because there's people that can see me. So I have to, you know, it's just really been so hard on us with the slamming car doors, everything everyone else said. I just want to be on the record to say it's just been hell what they're doing. And I just don't know, is there a time limit? You know, at a certain point, when, you know, how long does this have to go on?
So what I'm going to do when I go to court is I'm going to say, Judge, please sign the order to show cause. And the attorney's going to say, no, Judge, because we filed the application or we plan to file the application. And I'm going to say, Judge, can you sign an order saying you're signing the order if the application isn't filed by, you know,
Yeah,
7
is it like
days or
some kind
something.
of
So,
time? I mean,
so we
it's
just
gonna
need the
go on for
court.
5 years.
We
I
need the
mean,
court, but we haven't taken these steps. So we need the court to be our ally and we can do that. But we haven't even been to court yet because the other one got adjourned. So now we're starting to get some new developments.
Right, okay. And as far as what they're proposing, is there a way we can see the plans or anything like that? You know, what they're trying to do? They haven't submitted anything to you? You haven't seen anything at all?
Mayor, there was an
I apologize. I was,
there
Yes,
was an
you're okay to-
application that was submitted about a year ago for this property and it was deemed incomplete. They haven't submitted anything since then.
So.
If you wanted to see what was submitted,
No,
if
no,
you
no,
went
I
to
know.
the
So
zoning
there's
board
no,
office.
they
but-
don't have a certain amount of time to submit anything. They're gonna just, it just keeps, I guess you
Yeah,
have to
that-
take the proper, okay.
exactly, the time limits like the
I
attorney
just,
was
yeah,
stating.
just frustration and, you know, no quality of life. Just wanted to reiterate that again. You know, all these people are here from the area going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's just never stopped. It's still going on.
No, I know it. I know. I definitely know. I have the pleasure of seeing some people just because they're friends or we work in similar places and it's hard. It's the hardest thing that
It's
I.
very hard.
that we as a
This is the
council have
worst
had to
thing
deal
that
with.
can
It
ever
impacts
happen
so
to
many.
you, being a homeowner. This is like the worst thing. It's just not the place. It's just, so, you know, it's just not really the place because people live there. It's literally in the backyard. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I appreciate it.
Thank you for.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, also from. Oh, I did promise, if you don't mind, I did promise the online person that I would call for them. Mr. Syed, I apologize. Are you still there?
Hello, Madam Mayor. I'm still here. Yes. How
I'm
are you
sorry,
doing?
Mr. Syed.
This is
I did
Galip
see your hand
Syed
up.
from 3
Yep.
Sophie Street.
Go ahead, you can speak.
Okay. I'll make a better for the gentleman who came before Joe, who was offering barbecue. How about going to a restaurant, having a good curry, good sharp curry, and then afterwards we come down to your place and have a barbecue? I'm all for it. Having said that, that was a joke, by the way.
Okay.
Having said that, I am a regular congregant at this location on Ernstine Road, and I have participated in the council meeting in various times in the past. And in one of the meetings, I believe it was communicated with neighbors also that the mosque committee or community center committee will communicate with neighbors and facilitate or will do what they are asking to do or requesting to do, such as clean up, shut down the lights, and ensuring that their livelihood is not disturbed. And I really appreciate their frustration. If I was living in that neighborhood, irrelevant of what religion I have, I would probably have the same concerns which they have. But I have noticed that Joe, who is living across the street, his complaint was that it is really bright in the parking lot. As soon as I come out around 8:30 or 9 o'clock, that facility's lights are off from the parking lot, from the back and in the front end and everywhere, the lights are off. So that is, again, they heard the neighbors, I believe, and I hope that they will continue to hear them and do what neighbors would like to have a comfort zone and livelihood continue to enjoy in that neighborhood. And we want to have that as well in wherever we are in our community in Saraville. So that's one thing. And also the parking lot at the back end. I remember last Friday or Friday before, there was a program there. The lights were off in the parking lot. We had to go in the parking lot and turn on our cell phone lights just to find our path so that we are not hitting any rock or anything. So this again is consideration for our neighbors. And also it is a community center and a place to worship. And I believe that my constitutional right is that I can worship any religion or not worship any religion I wish to. I don't think that Saraville town will take away that place of worship as long as that place is going to follow the rule of law. And I'm sure that we all are and if the fines are there, they will be, I'm not sure what is the legal steps they will follow, but as a congregant, again, I'm speaking that I have found various adjustments are done to ensure that our neighbors are not disturbed at night. And I really appreciate the community center, and also I appreciate the neighbors bringing those complaints or concerns. And trust me, I will be my neighbors or those neighbors' ambassador and will continue to take the message. I'm not sure how many of the community center people are here, but I hear these brothers and sisters who are participating in the meeting. I'll be their ambassador and tell them that, hey, let's go and work with our neighbors, because we want to make sure that we all have a right comfort level for our neighbors if we want to have our community center. And of course, and down the road, I see a lot of benefits. And also, other thing also is that when we have when you see the lights on in a legitimate time or right time, we have lights there because or in the mosque, because they are every weekend or every second weekend or so, we have quite a number of youths coming in. They have their own program. I love to have my kids in under the roof in one place instead of roaming around in different places, and they are not disturbing the any neighborhood. They are in the enclosed environment. They are doing their activities and quietly leaving. So these such activities are happening for productive reasons, in that apart from religious, but there are other social activities for the kids, creative activities for the kids who are enjoying their life. And I invite you to come down and join and observe and see what we do there.
Hey, sir, this is
And-
the attorney, sir. It's 5 minutes, okay? You got to wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Syed. I appreciate your comments. And, you know, I think that the key word that I hear here is about neighbors. You know, we really do have to think about each other as neighbors, no matter where we live in this community, because it impacts all of us. In the back? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did. Yes, please come up. I apologize. I had asked you to sit when Mr. Syed was here. Go ahead.
My name's Corey Penland. I live 99 Liberty Street. So I actually wrote everything down on paper. They mostly hit all the points. But one good point, I don't know who said it. When my neighbor got their pool installed, they had to get certified letters.
Yep. From
blocks and blocks away. All these neighbors, he made a good point. He lives right across the street. He didn't get anything. And that's for a pool. So anyway, I sat down, mine's on paper. I oppose the expansion of the community center on Ernston Road. My reasons I feel are valid. I travel Ernston Road and Bordentown as I live and work in this town, almost daily for work, shop, and visit friends. The traffic on Ernston and Bordentown is horrendous now. The intersection was replanned, updated, and widened. According to the CME engineers, and I quote, "This intersection is one of the busiest in the county." The improvements made required over $12 million in federal aid funding and more. This has significantly helped the traffic issues for the residents and businesses. This proposed new expansion will set back the design progress for the free-flowing traffic. The proposed expansion will create much more traffic, which will affect safety and require police presence. An example is Dwarkadish on Washington Road. Certain holidays result in overflow of parking onto the school properties. It requires several police officers to direct traffic, extra lighting, and other resources to ensure safety. Shamir Properties propose weddings, funerals, school, and daily prayer in their addition to other celebrations. The attendees to those events will most likely be out-of-towners that are only here for specific reasons and not coming to spend money with our businesses to grow our economy. I propose other suitable locations that can accommodate this large proposal, such as Lowe's on Route 9, which was closed in 2011, Amboy Cinemas, which was closed in 2005, or perhaps anywhere on the end of Main Street Extension. Whatever benefit the town feels it will receive by allowing this variance to move forward will outweigh the cost to the residents, taxpayers, and business owners with additional services such as police, sanitation, and other resources to sustain this building in our town on Ernston Road. I'm not the only one who feels this way. I have a signed petition that we started a few days ago that I would like to present to you of others that oppose this and were also completely unaware. And then, so I have those if you want them. You guys are saying you didn't get a site, but we have this. You guys saw this? Right? It's on their website.
It's a matter of whether that was officially submitted to us, whether it's on their website, is one thing, but what they submitted to our board. That's what you were saying before.
Oh, but you guys said you didn't receive anything, I thought you said.
The zoning board received an application that was incomplete. It did contain a site plan. It did contain a building rendering. I don't know if it's the same that was on their website, but there was something submitted to the borough.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, a young lady in the back, yes. Listen, we're all young, I'm telling you.
Hi,
I'm Demetra Wagner, 7 Roma Street, Sayreville. I have 3 issues tonight. I am a committee woman in District 1. I do not live in your neighborhood, but I'd like to say something, okay? The Sayreville taxpayers had this same issue with Epic Church, formerly known as Faith Fellowship. The taxpayers paid for all that court, okay? It comes out of our pockets, everyone's pockets, okay? We had the same issue with the Dwakadwesh. It cost the taxpayers a lot of money. They're going to use the religion card. I have one answer for you. Look up Tom Palando. He has pictures at the mosque that had no legal licensing, CO, whatever you want to call it. I also ran for commissioner last spring. And I ran with Rick Maida and Frank Bella and Sam Raval. And let me tell you something. People ask me, how is politics, Demetra? And I've also been a teacher for over 20 years, and I left teaching because it's disgusting what's going on in our school systems. Parents are not parents. Teachers are not teachers. Administration does not support us. Okay? And all I got to say is politics is like the mob. Follow the money and you'll get your answer. Whether you are Republican or you are a Democrat, I don't care whether you're an independent, you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. And we know the mayor knows Tom Palando really well. All right? These are not games that we play. These are people's lives. And we all know that the religions card is going to be used. And we know what happens as with Epic, okay? When the YMCA, many, many years ago, Sayreville did not buy that YMCA and create it into a recreational center for whatever reason, okay? I don't care really. I was here in 95 and I'm worried about today. All I know is that when I bought my house in 1998, my taxes were $1,700. And those services go up and up, regardless if I use them, regardless if my children are in school. I homeschooled, I put my children in Catholic school, some public school, and so forth. I had family in the military. I have family in the Army, okay? And when it comes down to it, it's all about the effing money. Excuse my French, okay? Do we really care about the students? Do we really care about the residents? Do we really care? No, we don't. It's who is putting money in our pockets. And I don't care who you are. The second issue is that American flag stands for everybody. The building here is not a billboard, okay? And I have military, I have people that are police officers, I have firefighters in my family, I've had people who have died for this country. And this town and this building is not a billboard for the LGBT community, because that US flag and that family member that died for you, for your freedom, and did not come back from Iraq. It's for freedom, and it's not a billboard. And I have gay family members, and they agree with me. So don't hand me that BS, whoever voted for it. I'm from Jersey City. I've had family in the mob, and don't stand this. I don't stand for this BS. I have family members that took bullets and paid for their lives, whether they were in police, fire, or the military. Only government flags stand in government buildings, period. This is not a billboard. Are you prepared to put a pro-life flag where Roe v. Wade was overturned in June, right next to that gay flag? Are you prepared to do that? Are you? For all of those who voted for it. Huh? Because gay children are aborted too. And my husband works all day long to pay for your salaries, along with you too. You're all residents here. But I say follow the money when you want your answers. And my third issue is this. I have called the borough many times, and I do not get a return for
If
the
you could just
water
wrap it up,
issue.
it's 5 minutes, please.
Water issue. But my bill gets interest when I don't pay my bill on time. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless America.
Ted, come on up. Good.
Ken Olszewski, 108 North Edward Street, Sayreville. I don't want to spend much of my time throwing bouquets for the 5 minutes, but I have to thank Glenn Skarzinski, our new BA. We talked to him about the microphone here. He immediately got us a new one. And he's also said some things tonight that make sense. So thank you, Glenn. You got a little honeymoon here. I'll probably give you hell the next meeting. But I want to, even though I'm not from that area, I want to talk a little bit about those issues. I live on North Edward Street. I don't live near these people. I'm aware of the issues of what's going on. But it doesn't matter where I live, whether it's on Main Street or Dane Street or Laurel Park or President Park or Melrose or Morgan. We're all members of a community here. We're all one town. And it doesn't matter whether I moved in 6 months ago, maybe like some of these people, or my family who's been here for generations, 125 years and more. We're all together, we're all one town, and we need to work together. I don't want to talk about an application. What I want to talk about is what these people have been going through for an extended period of time. And I want to use an example. I'm a big music lover. Some of you people know that. I go to concerts constantly. If I took and started concerts at my home on North Edward Street and invited 200 people every weekend to a concert, and, you know, the cops came and gave me summonses, or the zoning officer or whatever, and this is going on. How long is this going on? I mean, months and months and months. Is going on from most of last year. I don't think I could get away with that. We're talking about court. What is it with the court system? How long does this take to get an injunction? They would give an injunction to stop me, and forget the summonses. I'd wind up in jail, I'm sure. Where the hell is our court system today? It's simply not right what these people are going through. And I'm only using them as an example. Yeah, I travel Ernst Road like other people, and I got relatives that live not far from these people back in that area and back to the old Howard Johnson's and Dairy Queen or whatever it is there. But for somebody to come in, forget the application. And quite frankly, if I put an application in and I was told it wasn't complete on North Edward Street for these concerts I had, I'd be happy that it wasn't complete. I don't ever want the damn thing to be complete, because then I'd have to get in compliance. So my deal is, you know, we have to get beyond, and I know we've got a new attorney here, but we've got to get beyond, and that's why these people are laughing about the idea of going to court. How long does this court stuff take? It isn't right what's happening to them. It isn't right what's happening to our town. I don't care who it's about. I'm going to use it. It's about me and my concerts. I don't care what the other purposes are. For somebody to come in and completely violate laws, and what I hear is knocking down trees and building things and doing that with no legal basis for doing that. I think that's the thing we're talking about. That's how we have to frame this thing. And that's why we need to fight for them, and for not only them, for me and every resident of Sayreville, so they get this squared away and it never happens again to anyone else in town. Thank you very much.
Okay, seeing no other hands, anybody else? Okay, Mr. Duffy. Oh, okay. Sir, in the corner, I apologize. When you, okay. Oh, no.
Bob Duffy, 111 Merritt Avenue. I have a question for the attorney. You mentioned something about not assist and assist to stop the project.
Cease and desist, sorry.
Cease and desist?
Yeah.
Order to show cause is the legal document we
Yeah.
filed with the court.
Show cause. Thank you, Mary. Just to let you know, I applaud the council. They're starting to turn around. The problem is you can't get to the court in town. I'm waiting 3 years. I'm finally going to court this Thursday. Keep your fingers crossed.
Oh.
But I have the same problem, not as bad as these people, with a neighbor. Okay? And just to let you know, that Kurt, they issued summons after summons, and it kept getting postponed. He changed attorneys, this, that. The prosecutor was no help at all. So I'm just letting you know that it'll take 3 years. 3 years. This April will be 3 years. So I just want to let you know that that's the problem also. They could give them all the fines they want, but they can't get to the court.
COVID had a lot to do with that, but.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's-
still, you should be.
Yeah.
I would think in a municipality, you should be by 90 days in front of a judge. You know what I mean? 90 days should be more than enough.
Mr.
How many
Duffy,
cases?
I can tell you that the court just went back to live sessions this past week. So they're going to start addressing the backlog and hopefully we'll get caught up in short order.
I understand that. I've been 3 years, but you still have virtual. You could still be in front of a judge. You know what I mean? It's they're clogging up the flow of the water. And especially when they're working on the same team. Judge, prosecutor, township. You know what I mean? You would think that when they have a problem, like the mosque problem I had, within 90 days, you should be in front of the judge. This ain't a traffic ticket. These are violations, code violations. You wouldn't want a fire code going 3 years, would you? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. I have one other thing, being we're talking about codes. I know you have nothing to do with the Board of Education. I know you. I just wanted to know if anybody would know, when they put those things in the parking lot, solar panels, did they get an okay from the fire department? They did?
I can't speak on behalf of that. There might be somebody in the audience that could maybe assist you with that question. Jay, do you have any idea? No?
Well,
I don't.
I'm only bringing that up for the simple reason, I'm just an ordinary guy. But if there's a fire at that school, you can only get one fire truck by the curb. If another one has to get around it, ain't gonna make it. It's not wide enough because they got the solar panels.
Good point.
And let's hope if it does go on fire, it's no kids in there, because it's gonna be a mess.
That's why it's so very important. And Council President Anoha had mentioned it earlier today. It's extremely important that in reference to the transportation, whatever you want to call it, it's got to come before the planning board. It's got to come before our local planning board. You know, when the library was, the extension was built on the library, Dr. Parnell's library, however many years ago. I was still in the high school when that was being built. That had to come before the planning board. Board of Education or not, it's got to go before those extra set of eyes. Our own projects, when we turn around and we build our own projects, our own buildings, do expansions or changes, we have to go before often our own permits. We have to turn around and have them looked over. So no entity should be exempt from coming before our local planning boards.
Well, I think it's a safety violation.
Yeah, but
If they put that up there. And I know the school board and the school has a lot of parameters that they don't have to go through. But I would just look into that.
there you go. Mr. Duffy, you're starting
Listen,
now.
You
you're-
took care of the boss, that's all.
You
I
were,
care.
you were batting 1,000. Now we have to bring you back a little bit here. Anybody else from the public wish to speak at this time? Jim? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Come on. I apologize. That's. Yeah, I know. You got to remember, I see hands all day long. I teach all day.
My name
Sarah.
is Joseph Sarpo. I live on 146 Johnson's Lane. Since August of last year, I had Verizon come on my property. They put the lines to the house. Okay, no problem. They unbolted the cap out there where all the wires go. Hold on. I take the lawnmower to cut the grass so it looks good there. Lo and behold, they never bolted it back down. Wait, goes into the lawnmower. Busted all up. Now, in August, I had my mower sent out because I was on my back fighting cancer again. So they picked it up, they brought it back. That was $561. Wait, the last bill to get it fixed is $761. Yes, I had to pay it. I paid it. And the reason why, I didn't want to ruin my credit. I've called these people, I've gotten a runaround like there's no tomorrow. I even called City Hall and said, hey, who's in charge here of putting these people on your property? I didn't ask for it. Yes, I have a phone in the house. Okay, but I have a cell phone too. If I would have known I'm going to have all this property damage, they messed up the wall, they dug up the ground, and the guys that came back, the electric went out because they cut the line out there. Lo and behold, thank God I had a Generex outside and it kicked right in. It ran for a day. It cost me $182 for that gas to run that machine. Thank God it was out there. Now, I'm not a well man, but I'll tell you one thing. I didn't get nasty with these people. I should have, but I didn't because I kept on getting, oh, he's on vacation. Oh, this guy's over here. Oh, this guy's handling, that guy's handling. When they come to my house, I said, who's handling it now? And the electrician said to me, we got to run new lines. Dug up the ground again, put new line. What a mess. He says to me, what you need is a landscaper. A landscaper?
My God.
Hold on. I didn't ask for any of this. And I didn't want it, but I got it right between the eyes. 700, the bills are here. The other bills here in August that I paid for that machine to get fixed. Make sure it runs right. Because I hate machines when you go out and put the key in, it don't work. I just want to say, Verizon and the third parties that they bring on my property, they told me they don't speak English. I was, what? They don't speak English. They gathered the tools and they left. I'm like, this is crazy. Yes, I tried to call City Hall, find out who's in charge of all of this. But this is unbelievable, the runaround that I am getting. I put the $761 out of my pocket. Yeah, I strapped a little because it was Christmas and I didn't want to ruin my credit. So what I'm saying is this, I got a starter here. It's steel. It snapped it right off. It came right up underneath that mower. I was just beside myself. And then I had to push it all the way to my barn in the back, 100 feet by myself. And I just had surgery. He says to me, make sure you're laying down and taking care of yourself. That's really taking care of yourself. Now, I don't know what else to do. Maybe should get a lawyer. Maybe that'll help. Put some pressure on these people to get my money back. Now they sent a paperwork that you have to sign this for us to give you your money. What? Yeah. We don't want to be responsible for anything else. I want anybody here, you could come to my house tomorrow. I'm not going to be home. I'm going to be at the doctor's. But you come to 146. What a mess. You look over the fence. It's unbelievable. I don't even want to go out there and look at it no more. Now I'm starting to get the dampness on the walls down the cellar because everything's a mess outside.
We'll be going to his house, Glenn.
I will, Mr. Sarper, just if you can give me a call Wednesday, that's my contact information. I'll see what contacts we have at Verizon.
Listen, you can have this paperwork. I made copies of it. Everything I've done, all the telephone calls I made, and I get the runaround. I'm tired. I don't want to fight with nobody. I was very nice to them on the phone. All the BS that they handed me, I've had it. So now, this is all yours. I got copies. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you for your patience and be well. Go. All right, come on up, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square. I was going to wait till the next meeting, but at my age, I'm not sure I'll make it around to that. So there is an issue that Christian, I spoke to you about it, Mayor, I spoke to you about it, sent emails, and I'm glad that you brought it up. For the last 6 months, there have been 3 matters that dominated public comment in this town. And coincidentally, there's a common denominator to all 3. One, we heard about from folks here. The other is the debacle on Cheesequake Road, the 7,000 trees, the untold number of displaced wildlife. And while we discuss those 3 things, forgotten is the Board of Education Transportation Garage that's slated to go on Cheesequake Road. I call that Cheesequake 2.0. When we succeeded in defeating the ridiculous plan to put the bus depot in Morgan, we all breathed a sigh of relief, but that was just a partial victory. Now that they've located a site on Cheesequake Road, there are other land use concerns that the public has a right to know about and to comment on and to ask questions about. How will the 30, 40, 50 buses fit into the line of tractor trailer traffic? There'll be 60 traffic trailer on Cheesequake Road an hour during peak period. We're going to be putting school buses that run on a schedule into that queue. Will there be fuel tanks there? Dr. Labby previously said no. We think that there need to be fuel tanks because they can't use these. How many more trees will come down on the 5 to 7 acre site? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000? We know that they aren't being made to contribute to the tree bank, so there is no incentive for the board to preserve trees. Okay. What will happen to the wildlife that will be displaced? We're seeing animals all over town now that used to live in the forest that will soon be the Arsenal warehouses. Where will these displaced animals go when the 5 to 7 acres are removed? Will the soils be tested there? We know that there is a groundwater problem there. What about the soil? That has got to be looked into and spoken about. And what will be the impact on the homes in Laurel Park? You know, I think you have heard that since the 7,000 trees have come down, people all the way on Main Street can hear firing at the gun range. I mean, I've heard that. I'm sure some of you have heard that. What's going to happen now when those additional trees right behind Laurel Park are taken down? And what about the lights and things like that on this facility? Will there be lights and will be shining over to Laurel Park? What will be done to buffer the homes in Laurel Park? You know, it's interesting. Laurel Park streets are named after trees: ash, elm, spruce, birch, beech, cedar, willow. Pretty soon, those names might be the only memory of trees we have left in this town, and that would be a shame. And I've said before, many times, I've reminded the council, and you know, you talked about it tonight, NJSA 4055D-31 says that before any public entity spends any money on a capital project, they need to come before the planning board. Our own ordinance, ordinance 26-10-2A, says that the planning board shall exercise its powers in accordance with the MLU, the municipal land use law, in regard to any capital improvements program. There's case law on this. I think it was Clifton Board of Education versus the zoning board in Clifton. The board lost that. They didn't want to go before a board. Now, I wrote to Dr. Labby a year ago when they were proposing to put this behind the Slover School. And I wrote to him again recently. And I asked him if he was going before the planning board, and he responded to me as he always does. And he said, as I stated publicly, while school districts are not required to meet and comply with municipal planning boards because all our projects have to be approved by the NJDOE, in Sayreville, we have always done so upon request. In fact, as part of our land use exchange program, this really has nothing to do with it. In fact, as part of our land exchange agreement with the borough, we agreed to share our plans with them, which we have already done so, as well as to share the competitive bids prior to advertising for it. Now, I'm not going to comment on Dr. Labby's incorrect assumption that because you're subject to one governmental jurisdiction, you don't have to comply with the other. You know, does he think OSHA applies? We just heard here about how an application has to go before a local planning board and a county planning board. So because you're subject to the jurisdiction of one doesn't mean you're not subject to the jurisdiction of another, although I might try that theory. You know, after I pay my federal taxes and the state wants me to pay income taxes, I'll tell I paid to the federal. But since he said they have always appeared when they've been requested, I would formally request that you ask the Board of Education to appear at a public hearing where the public can see the plans and ask questions and make comment. Because we've already seen what's happened on Cheesequake Road. We don't want Cheesequake 2.0 to take place, and we certainly don't want anything to happen without the public having the right to know what the plans are, to comment on the plans and ask questions on the plan. So I would respectfully request that you make that formal request to the Board of Education. Okay, thank you.
As we had done in the past, does anybody on the council have issue with council president reaching out as is the planning board also to make that request to the Board of Education that they come before our planning boards? Anybody have issue with that?
Yeah,
I
they've done it in the past. They always do it.
Okay.
So
So that is something
I-
that needs to be put forward.
I really, it doesn't need to be in a motion. That's just formally announced.
No, it doesn't. I think I just, you know, that way we're all together. Okay. I do, actually, yes, I have to on this side. Left side, two on that side. Okay. So there's no objection here. So Council President. You know,
For sure.
Bring that request forward from the planning board to the Board of Education. Before the search ends.
Yeah.
I think that's a smart move. So any other comments then? I'm gonna come over here because our public portion is still open. Our man in the back. I'm sorry, you're on round two now. Doing round ones first.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mike Zollinger. I live on 6 Walling Street in Sayreville. There's been a lot of talk about Cheesequake Road and a lot of people talking about taxes. On the 80-acre site on Cheesequake Road, is it true that they don't have to pay any taxes for 20 years?
Not to my knowledge, they better be paying taxes.
What is it?
They have regular taxes.
I'm not talking right now. I'm talking about upon completion.
They haven't even.
No.
We haven't even discussed it.
So I think what you're asking is, are they going to come before us and ask for a pilot?
No,
Oh.
no, I'm talking that being part of an agreement upon
There's no
purchase of the
agreement with this
property.
Council, absolutely not.
No.
regarding that. No, no.
Okay, that's all for me.
Could they ask for one?
They did ask.
They did ask for one. Did they, did they ask for one?
Not formally, absolutely not. And then they haven't done that.
Yes.
Okay, so,
Formally?
well, wait,
No,
wait.
they
This
have
is not
not
how
yet.
we conduct business up here. In front of this board, in this council, have we received a request for any type of tax deferral? No. At any other board, at the redevelopment agency, have they requested payment in lieu of taxes?
It's my understanding.
So there's no formal, okay, so, if,
Informational.
no, you cannot speak from there. Come on up, Mr. Bella. Mr. Bella, you are a commissioner of the
Sarah, member.
redevelopment agency. Are you speaking as?
Well, Frank Bella, 5 Keenan Street. My recollection, I asked David Samuels whether there was a pilot request for the Cheesequake Road. I believe there was a request. I don't think that we've done any formal, Mary shaking, am I mistaken?
I heard what you heard, that they talked to some people, but as far as coming before Sarah with a formal request, absolutely not.
But I think something's pending, but no formal action has been taken. I think David is, Jay, you have any input on this?
I believe that the developer had discussions with Sarah, but it hasn't gone beyond discussions with Sarah. And this is not in the past few months. This was a while ago. They had these discussions.
Right, so the developer is asked, Sarah hasn't acted. Once Sarah acts, then it comes to the council.
I don't think they've formally asked Sarah. I think they've asked questions to just find out about a pilot.
We need to
But
define
it's not,
Sarah.
it's not,
So they
We
floated a
need to-
balloon. They haven't made
Something's
a
going on.
formal.
Something's going on. And I can't smell for 3 years, but I'm starting to smell something and it doesn't smell good. Time out. Sarah is an acronym for the Cerebral Economic Redevelopment Agency. Those are people. So who did the developer have conversations with on Sarah? It can't talk to Sarah. Sarah is, it's letters. Who did, who, as commissioners of the redevelopment agency, did the developer speak with about a pilot?
so in a couple of cases, we have expectations that there might be asking.
They might be asked.
They might be asking. There are
What
certain
does that mean?
expectations.
They might be asking, what does that mean? Well, because it wasn't
They
brought
haven't
before me.
asked. We need to expect that and be ready for an answer when
Anybody can
it
ask
comes
for
up.
anything.
So
They have never.
So I might be looking at a house. to
Jay,
buy,
help me,
But I
Jay.
don't,
Jay, help me.
Never.
with
They
this
may have done it
project,
before. You would,
I haven't been on there in a long time.
well, I took
So-
your seat, so they had, since I have been there, they have never come before us and asked for this. If they did it before, they did it when you were on.
Not me.
When I was on.
What,
Okay, then.
I did not have any discussions at all. When was the last time I was on? I've been serving as the mayor here for 3 years. And prior to that, I'm trying to think, I don't think I was on. And yes, so it's been 5 years that I've been off because this was,
No, 3 years since you've been on, because I took your seat. You were on there.
oh, regardless, I know I didn't have any conversations with anybody regarding a pilot. Who's having a conversation regarding pilot? Where's this pilot? The pilot's not here. Is there discussion at the redevelopment agency? Mary attests to the fact that she, as a redevelopment agency commissioner, has never been in conversation with anybody over a pilot. Where is this pilot coming from? But there's conversations going on. Are there conversations going on about a pilot?
No.
None. Jay, any conversations about a pilot?
Mayor, I can't speak to reason. I know in the past, then keep in mind, this project has been going around, going back and forth for 5 or 6 years at least. I know that there have been discussions formally in front of Sarah talking about a pilot. There's never been a formal submission to the mayor and council requesting a pilot because it's your vote. It's not a Sarah vote. It's a mayor and council vote.
Okay, understood. Okay. So nothing now is before us at all. We have not seen anything.
And as I said, when I got on Sarah, I've only been there for a couple of months now. One of the first things I did in getting orientated is I asked, who's asked for pilots, what pilots are being for consideration? And there is nothing formally being consideration, but I've heard applicants are interested in pilots for almost every application.
Okay.
So as this gentleman says, there's something out there. Nothing had been approved. My
Okay.
understanding is, Sarah has to refer it to the council and then it's ultimately the council's decision. One of my
Yeah.
concerns is that the council say, well, Sarah recommended this, so we're going to approve their recommendation, or does the council really take a good look at the pilot? Or-
I would hope that this council up here, when it comes to anything that's been handed over by the redevelopment agency in light of, recent events, is scrutinized to the top level. I mean, we have the RFPs going out for the special investigation regarding dealings within that agency. So this is the time that you need to look at every single nickel, dime, quarter, penny.
And my personal position is you're really going to have to convince me that a pilot is necessary.
Yeah, I would hope
Absolutely.
the pilot wouldn't even come our way. I
Right.
would hope it wouldn't even get past Sarah where we would have to consider that. They
Yeah.
should know better.
All right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, definitely, I haven't, that's my personal position. If I'm, as a taxpayer, if I'm going to give somebody a payment in lieu of taxes, I want to make sure that they really, really need it. And to build a warehouse, which, nobody's putting a gun to their head to build a warehouse. I got to assume they're building a warehouse because they want to make money.
Listen, right now, there's nothing formally before us. Do I suspect there's going to be lots of pilots coming this way? Yes. It sounds to me like people think Saraville's an airport. So this particular council is going to have to really do their homework, financially look at, question, and determine whether a pilot is something right for any development here. That's what it comes down to. So right now, sir, no pilots. They're paying what they have to. Will there be a pilot coming this way? Stay tuned.
Now that I stirred that up, I just have one more question. Does the borough of Saraville own the property along Journey Mill Road where the old dumps used to be?
That's a
do.
landfill site. Yes, that's the landfill.
Well, if the borough of Saraville is so green and so keep everything covered in trees, why doesn't the borough of Saraville not sell that property rather than buy other properties? Because
Isn't
they're
that
there
an
already.
EPA disaster. I don't know what's going to grow on that site and if it's.
I know what's growing on that site. I travel that road every
No, I'm
morning.
saying it's an EPA issue, isn't it? That
Yeah, I-
landfill site.
So, Mr. Solomon, that's a capped landfill,
I understand that.
closed within the specifications required by law. Anything you do to breach that cap brings with it a lot of complications, plus the fact that the borough is still a party to the maintenance of that site.
Yeah, but they were talking about allowing a container company.
Now, there's an application pending there for a refrigerated warehouse on the front end of the property, not on the cap.
What do you mean where the trees are?
Oh,
Okay, never mind. All right.
you need to come back again next meeting. You ask good questions. Thank you. All right, anybody else? All right, Ken, come on up. We might have to put maximums on visits to the.
Again, Ken Olszewski, 108 North Edward Street. I'll try to be brief there. Not here to talk about pilots, but I think the question that should be raised right now is who is authorized to talk about pilots? And I think Sarah should be advised that they are not authorized to talk about pilots because there's a lot of discussion and a lot of people saying that there have been a lot of talk about pilots with either the professionals or the management at Sarah. I don't know that to be a fact. I'm just telling you what I hear. That's not what I'm hearing. My question is this, or my statement is this. Many of you know that I'm chairman of the Saraville Housing Authority. And what I want to talk about here is the land use we were talking about earlier tonight, going through authorization, approvals, and classes to be on land use boards. Let me tell you what they do for the Housing Authority. There is a state law that says once you're appointed to the Housing Authority, you have 18 months to take the classes and get the certificates. There are 5 full-day classes. And if you haven't taken them in 18 months, you are off the Housing Authority. There is no questions about it. You can no longer vote. It's nobody has to say you're off, blah, 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 blah. You're off the Housing Authority. And I couldn't hear everything that went on up here in those discussions, but some of the fact that maybe you're not authorized to, could be conflicts between talking to the planning board and the Board of Adjustment. And I throw Sarah into this too. My suggestion is this. My suggestion is this governing body pass a resolution to the state of New Jersey and through that, through our senator and through our 2 assembly people, and one of who is the speaker, and ask them to pass a state law that says if you serve on a land use board, you need to take classes. And it should, the model, which is long ago, it's been in effect for years. I took these classes on housing 15, 20 years ago. So the model is there, and you should have to take classes and be approved before you can serve, not before you can serve, but within the 18-month period after you get on one of these boards. So nobody can then say, well, we don't know what's going on, and use ignorance as an excuse. That's just not acceptable. There have been too many bad things that have happened in this town. Not going to reiterate them. Some of them have been talked about. Mr. Robinson did an excellent job earlier tonight, but that should be a prerequisite of this governing body. All it takes is a resolution to our legislature, so we know, so they know how we feel, and from the residents of Saraville through you to the legislature, how we feel about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Okay. Jimmy, is this, wait.
So what are you saying? It's because that's a great point. You know, I look at some of these boards and I'm like, well, what are your qualifications besides being a resident?
Land use boards have to right now.
So do we enforce it?
Yeah.
We do.
Planning board secretary keeps a record
Okay.
of when they came on, when they have to have it. But again, like I said, there's 2 positions that are exempt from it. And I don't think anybody should be exempt.
All right, so everybody else takes a certification.
Yes.
So when comments are made that we don't and we do, why aren't we saying,
Well, we did.
We
Just
do.
a few minutes ago, we mentioned.
right? So,
I thought it was a year. Jim said it's 18 months.
It's 18 months.
so we're requiring
Yes.
It's
state. Yeah.
courses and certifications.
Yes.
Okay?
Mayor, I hate, to-
The planning board is.
I really hate to come back, but when land use and pilots are mentioned, the first time I became aware of a pilot with respect to Arsenal was when I watched the Zoom meeting of Sarah. It was during COVID. It was only Zoom. And they came in for, I'm going to call it a hearing before Sarah. And when the hearing was done, the engineer raised the question, what about the pilot? And I was, doesn't appear to me to be an engineering question unless you get further into it. And that was the first time I heard about the pilot for that project. The engineer raised it, and even Chairman Daddio was surprised. And he said, this is the first time I'm hearing about a pilot. And the engineer said that there had been talks about a pilot. That was the first time I heard it then. And this might have been before Councilwoman Roberts was on Sarah.
her first meeting. They kept referring to her as Councilwoman Edwards, so I knew it was her first meeting. I asked the question there about the pilot, and I was told, and I misheard, I was told they had requested 10%. And I assumed they were talking about 10% of what the taxes would have been. And Chairman Daddio corrected me afterwards and said, no, no, no. They were talking about paying 10% of their revenue. And I think I have that right. But there were discussions. There were at that point, you know, they were talking about numbers. So this wasn't just a concept. There was talk about pilots, and they rejected that 10%. And nothing has happened since then. But my understanding is it is still on the table. Okay. And the other thing, we've been talking about the certification that is necessary. And I said that's one of the laws that I pushed for when I was president of New Jersey Planning Officials. It applies to zoning boards. It applies to planning boards. I don't think it applies to redevelopment agencies. And of course, back then, you know, I never envisioned that we would have redevelopment agencies that are doing what our redevelopment agency is. You could make the argument that to sit on the Board of Adjustment, where you vote on fences and pools and decks and things like that, to be certified for that, but not to have to be certified to sit on SERA, where you vote on 2 million square feet of warehouses on Main Street in the center of town, just doesn't make sense. And that, you know, and that might be one of the reasons that SERA is approving projects like that. Perhaps it shows that they don't have to go for certification. But if we're going to request of our legislators anything, I would say, if you're talking about land use board, let's talk about all land use boards, especially the one that is the most powerful one in the town, more powerful than the planning board. I was told, and I'm not going to name names because that doesn't serve any purpose, but I was told that sometimes things are structured so that things go before SERA, so the planning board doesn't get their hands on them until it's a fait accompli. Because by the time they get to the planning board, all they have to do is comply with the redevelopment ordinance. And that is the test that the planning board measures the application to, the redevelopment ordinance, which a lot of times the applicant has a say in writing. So if we're going to make people be certified, if we want them to know what they're doing, if we want to protect the borough against lawsuits, and that's one of the benefits of certification, that ought to apply to all land use boards, especially the most powerful one in town. So thank you. I apologize for coming back up, but I just wanted to shed some light.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, seeing no additional hands, nobody online. Do we have a motion to? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the agenda meeting. I will ask just for myself a personal quick break. Anybody else need a quick break real fast? All right, let's try and keep it to, no more than 5 minutes. I just need a few seconds and then we'll be right back. Like most of the council is still here and our professionals. Are we ready to rock and roll through this next part? Yeah. All right. All right. Let's get everybody back up onto the dais. Who am I missing? Not that we're in a hurry. I'm gonna let Denise get up. Glenn, you're here. We're gonna do a salute. Christian, you're here. We'll be okay. We're gonna get started. If you guys can talk if you need to, Sean. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please stand for a salute to our flag. Please stand for a salute to our flag. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Statement of publication, please, Jessica.
3rd, 2023 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call, please.
Councilpersons Balca.
Here.
Conti.
Here.
June 4.
Here.
Novak.
Here.
Anoha. Roberts.
Under general discussions for this section of the agenda, we'll be relying on the lovely voice of our Borough Clerk, Jessica, to read off under each position, I guess I should say, each topic. Please,
Any
Jess.
questions, just stop. Authorization to renew Reliance Insurance Group LLC as our insurance broker for health services for the year 2023. Authorization to issue a duplicate tax sale certificate to Fig Capital Investments LLC. Authorization for the tax collector to refund 2022 taxes in the amount of $3,617.65 and cancel all subsequently billed taxes covering 30 Merritt Avenue, Block 417.06, Lot 4, due to 100% disabled veterans tax exemption. Also, I need to put under there, we need to appoint James Nolan and Associate as special counsel tax matters to handle the current cases they have been working on.
Understood until that next RFP comes in, correct?
Well, no, we appointed.
Oh, we have to finish those cases.
Yes.
That's correct. Thank you
Yes.
for that.
We need to have a discussion on the banning of smoke and vape shops.
Is this the time and place for that discussion
Yes.
now? Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have, Mayor, if I may, we have gotten some ordinance language about three things that we may want. Conditional use in certain areas of the municipality, adopt an ordinance that provides for licensing, and to prohibit smoke vape shops in all or part of the municipality. Those are the three different sections in the ordinance, and I believe the ordinance is written with all, hopefully with all of those, but we do have existing smoke and vape shops in town. And I will also add that those smoke and vape shops are on the Board of Health's list for violations at this point also. They are.
Many municipalities are already moving forward with starting to do this as well. I'm starting to see more and more on the news with townships having these just ridiculous amounts of smoke and vape shops opening up. I know from, and I will speak a little bit, at least from the school perspective and as a parent, and what I see in our buildings in town, in our schools, is they're opening up right by our schools. There are literally a handful of vape shops just within steps of the high school and the middle school. It causes a lot of issues. Right over at the Quick Mart Shopping Center, there was a vape shop that was opened up at that old Santander. You know, that's a thoroughfare where everybody is walking. That's definitely an issue. You also have a lot of convenience stores, gas stations and so forth, also selling those vaping products as well. And they are just popping up all over the place. A lot of towns are just saying enough is enough because the vapes, while they might be purchasing them, what they're filling these containers with and the issue, it's a major problem. It's one of the biggest issues that we have. I think that all three of those things should be on the table. The current existing vape shops, I mean, are we looking to turn around and have them licensed, registered and everything, and then eliminating any new ones coming forward?
I completely agree with you. Licensing is important. Limiting the number in town is important. And that kind of goes hand in hand with some of the other things that we're trying to balance out in town with limiting and allowing with permitting. So there's the issue of just to balance it, the peddlers licenses where they're getting extinguished. We want to expand those a little bit. Here we want to contract more.
I don't know if either one, I don't think we should couple the two of them together.
No, but it's a balance that we need to make for today's world, looking at it through today's eyes.
Right. I think we could definitely address the peddlers. I mean, that's a conversation we've had multiple times. If
Yeah.
we stay focused in right now on the smoke shops.
So on the
vape
smoke shop,
shops,
I
that's-
think we agree, Mayor, restricting any other ones from being opened and licensing the ones that currently exist. And they have to address the Board of Health issues also. They are on the most recent minutes for infractions.
Absolutely. This is a no-brainer to me. What's the rest of the council feel? It only comes to me. You have my support on this.
Just saying, if the ones we have, we can start to, license them and stuff like that, but just say no more.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Anybody
And
object?
then as the existing ones disappear, we don't hand that out to anybody
Then we don't turn it. Yeah, this
we
isn't
kinda
like,
give us hot dog wagons. We said we have so many, but we're never gonna, give any
mhm,
more.
and once they go, they go. This
They go.
isn't like right.
Yep.
How many do we have? Do we know how many we have currently? That would be, it's very,
Yeah, it's crazy.
But the current,
Already crazy.
the current draft says that we should ban all of them in all zoning districts.
Well, that's the draft
new ones.
ordinance,
New ones,
but
okay.
yeah.
okay.
You have to grandfather in the existing.
mhm.
But the cover letter indicates we could do three things. That was example of one of those three.
Yeah, I have no
for
issue with
that. I
that.
said
Any
the
issues with those three conditions?
How about restricting the sale of at existing shops now, though? I mean, not existing, not smoke shops, but like your little delis, your little gas stations that have them too. How do we address that?
That's an interesting component here, which I don't know.
Wouldn't that
Has
fall
been
under
proposed?
licensing also?
Would that fall under licensing? Because right now, that's an interesting,
So it would have to be a certain percentage of your sales would have to be from smoke or related things. So
Hmm.
7-Eleven who sells cigarettes.
how do you, Matt, how would you even monitor that too? Who's bringing that, like when that data is coming in, who's actually looking at it and enforcing it? That could be problematic. I mean, code, but
And the health department actually, as Donna said, has initiated something. They actually
Okay.
go into the places and try to regulate.
I don't have issue with that. I think it's a great idea. My question is
As
like,
restrictive as
how
possible.
do you go about the
E-
process?
e- Even the grocery stores have tobacco products. I mean, how do you?
We can just define a smoke shop. Say that engaged in the business of selling tobacco related products.
Primarily.
So do we walk before we run here just a little bit? Do we turn around and put something together now so that we can start eliminating any new shops from coming in, dealing with the three components that we have here on that cover letter? And then in the meantime, let's research what we can do about the existing and other regulation. That way we have something on the books already to stop it. And then we can always go through and amend it later if needed, or add more to our, policies and ordinances. Anybody object to that? So we can get a handle on some of the other ways to control?
No, but one more question though.
Yeah.
I want to ask, this draft, was it compared with another borough or within the county or any?
Yes, matter of fact, it was mentioned every single town in the state of New Jersey that has this. And they're sample ones from different towns.
Oh, like we.
Scataway, Chatham,
developed ours from
Bernards,
theirs?
Livingston, Saddlebrook, Bernardsville.
So many, and more each day are taking these. So this would then be turned over to you, Sean. You'll turn around and take a look at that, put your stamp of approval on it, and let's get it hopefully up for our next meeting or whatever would be most appropriate from a timing perspective. Let's try and get it right the first time, and then we can add as we need to. Any objection on that? That was an easy one. Good
I
discussion.
think we move forward with that and we can work out the kinks with the rest of it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Very good. Perfect. Continuing on, Jess?
Point tourist request for the corner of Washington and Ernston Road received from Sayreville River Dogs 11U for March 11th and 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Authorization to execute the renewal of an interlocal service contract with the County of Middlesex for the provision of public health services in the amount of $191,583.14 for the year 2023.
Next.
Yep. Authorization to award a non-fair and open contract to MT2 Metals Treatment Technologies for lead reclamation at the police firing range. Authorization to purchase 6 Panasonic tugbooks for new police vehicles from Software House International through NJ State Contract in an amount not to exceed $21,480.
Is this brand new cars or the ones that were in the older cars? I guess I'm not sure.
She's here. he-
Oh, he's.
New cars, okay.
Notice received from Kaplan Companies for Camelot at Town Lake, appealing the rent leveling board's rent control exemption determination. We need to schedule a hearing.
Okay, we got to do it. We have to do it then.
Is everybody available?
What date we looking at?
February 13th?
13.
Oh, it's not Valentine's.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
So we can all still go to the county
We
meeting.
still have a meeting, yeah.
I like the days better.
How long? Probably an hour. So 6.
6 o'clock sounds good to me.
February 13th, 6 o'clock.
Okay. Well, I'm done.
Next meeting, 6. Okay, we're proposing we're proposing for the next meeting at 6 p.m.
A hearing
Meeting
we have
day.
to have. We have to
Yeah.
have a hearing.
Okay.
Yes, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like you're telling us this.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. All right, 6 p.m. I'll advertise. Authorization to purchase rock salt from Morton Salt and Riverside Construction Materials through Middlesex County Contract B 22-560 in amount not to exceed 100,000.
I think we're gonna get snow in order to use that. salt.
Roll the dice and not have it.
No.
So George should say to have an amount so that in case he needed, he could order, but not that he's going to order 100,000.
Not to exceed 100,000.
That's cheap.
So there was an authorization to do it if he needed it, but not that he's gonna go out and buy 100,000 worth of rocks.
Right.
Because we don't need.
Right.
But he can if he
But you
needs.
could.
But he can, but he can.
So that way he's not restricted to requests for us later. We've gone through this. This is a smart way, I think, to handle this. So that way it's on their demand. They're not gonna hit that right away. Yep, perfect, good.
Request received from the Environmental Commission to amend the community garden ordinance. I did send it over to Anton, but I haven't heard back. I wanted his review of it before we put it in out for introduction. So if you could reach out.
Can we be all right with it on the list today if he has any changes, or do we have to come back?
No,
Okay, so we'll just make sure Anton
yeah,
reviews it.
yes,
Thank you.
and gives it his approval, then we'll list it for introduction at the next meeting. Authorization to auction old pumps and equipment online through Property Room. Authorization to purchase one Chevy Colorado pickup truck in an amount not to exceed $31,530. Authorization to purchase one jet truck through Sourcewell NJPA contract 101221 SCA. Jet truck. Or the Colorado.
You know how much that amount is? Just curious.
She was still working on numbers, so I'll definitely have it by the next meeting.
Yeah, listen, when it comes to plows, I have a,
I don't know.
going all the way back to my public works day, any truck that comes in's gotta have a plow. So, it's just something that we do. Just verify whether or not we have a plow available. We might actually have an excess of plows. It is. I don't know much about Chevy Colorados, but that seems like, can we move stuff with that?
No, it doesn't. Well, on this,
Is it replacing?
What?
the truck? Maybe
Denise,
we-
isn't there a
Yes.
line in the DPW capital for additional plows? I think we saw on there. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
plows are coming out of the capital.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's true, because listen, when it does snow, if it ever snows again, whatever we're expecting to get one day, might be coming. I know, but I like snow. I'm just saying, we don't want a situation where our water department can't get into their areas. I like snow.
all right, it's on Glenn.
All right, keep going.
Glenn.
Glenn, Business Administrator, your report, please.
Seeking authorization to appoint Thomas Sheehan to lieutenant in the police department retroactive to January 1st. He's been serving in an acting capacity. Also authorization to appoint Christopher Engelbrecht to sergeant in the police department retroactive to January 1st, 2023. He has also been filling that in an acting capacity.
Any objections? Okay, congratulations. CFO Denise?
Budget transfer resolution and a COLA increase ordinance, and that's it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Very good. Jay, anything?
Yes, Madam Mayor, 3 items. First is a change order for a 2021 road project. This adjusts quantities to allow pavement repairs on Singer Court at the request of Public Works Department. No change to the contract amount. It just allows us to adjust some quantities, so no increase or decrease. I need a resolution for that. Second item is the Fulton Landings development on Main Street. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of water and sewer permit applications for that project. And last is the leasing of an antenna space on the Pulaski tank. We were looking for 2 bids. We received 1. There's some potential problems with the bidder. So we're working with the attorney. You're either going to have a resolution rejecting and re-advertising, or possibly awarding 1 contract and advertising for a second. So we're going to work that legally and hopefully have a resolution at the next meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you, Jay. And did I hear Fulton's Landing? I'm sorry, my head is a little.
Fulton's Landing, that's the Main Street, the warehouse project. The water, that was already approved.
Yeah, I know.
They have to apply for water and sanitary sewer permits. The borough owns those, so the borough has to sign the application form. So you typically have a resolution authorizing the execution of those water and sewer permit applications.
Gotcha. Yes, it's Borough Attorney.
Nothing other than what we covered in public session.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Public portion, anybody else? Come on up, Jim. Nobody's online. Nobody has a hand up.
Mayor Jim Robinson, 11 Burrell Square in Parlin. First, I have nothing but praise and thanks to the police department and the governing body for what you're going to do. The cleanup of the lead over the well fields. I think that's going to allow us to do good things for law enforcement safely. And I appreciate that you'll be doing that. I hope this won't be a one-time thing I don't know how often it has to be done, 2, 5, 10 years, but
Every 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. Oh, fantastic. That's perfect. Thank you, Chief. And the other thing, Mr. Skarzinski, you are doing pretty well tonight. The first meeting I came to and I saw you, you told me that you were surprised I hadn't called you with an assignment or a
I
request.
did ask you to wait till the following Tuesday. I
And
did.
I said I would wait.
Here it comes.
Now, I assume, Glenn, that you have better things to do with your life than monitor Facebook.
You're correct.
For instance, you might, I don't know, in the summer, you might enjoy a cigar in your backyard in the summer evening or something like that. A lot of us do. Now, if you do that, if you are enjoying a cigar in your backyard in the summer, you might very well hear something that people always comment about on Facebook. You might hear the music coming across the river. That has, for some reason, I happen to love salsa music, but for some reason it has upset
Glad you asked.
a and maybe there are a lot of people who like it. They just don't like it at 2 or 3 in the morning.
If you're gonna keep lobbing me softballs
What?
like this, we're gonna get along just fine.
But if you take this assignment and you find out what to do about
It's
that,
taken care of.
you will be a hero. The town will probably be a lot less interesting without that music,
Wait a minute.
but
It's
you will
taken
be
care
a
of already?
hero to a lot of people.
He said he's
You let-
already solved
You
it.
can let the chief speak on this. Chief, are you prepared? Can you,
Oh,
Look at this.
They just shot a couple of people, right?
Oh, my God. That's worse than the snow comment.
We do feel we've identified where the source of the music is coming from. The next time we do have that call for service, our officers have been instructed to go to this location. I don't want to give it away at this point.
Of course.
For obvious reasons, but we believe we have identified the area that the source of the music is coming from. So the next time we get the call, hopefully, we'll be able to investigate, and it may be out of our jurisdiction, but it's an area that we would utilize to turn our police cars around. So we'll be able to involve the other jurisdiction directly. So
Look at
if we get that
this.
call,
yeah, but it took you 3 weeks.
another issue? Look, I had Mr. Duffy's microphone. I mean, come on.
I happen to love the music,
tried to
but
put him in order.
Microphone music, a park's
A
getting
lot of people
fixed.
don't.
Let's
All right,
keep
thank
it.
you very much.
Jim, sit down. It's time to go. Anybody else from the public? I think we're good. Nobody else online? Can we get a? Oh, wait. Hold on. We have a hand. Mr. Syed, no, I'm sorry. Syed Ali?
Yes, this is Syed Ali. Good evening, Mayor.
Good
I'm
evening.
Syed Ali from 44 Kears Street. I just overheard a little bit, actually. I'm sorry I joined a little late today. But the first topic that you guys talked about, the vape shop, and I am one of those who are concerned about having some regulation. We have a vape shop right across from middle school.
Yes, we were just talking about that. Yes.
And I know that people may have all the psychological explanation about vaping and not smoking. I see it as a smoking. And
It
we don't
is,
want
yeah.
our kids our kids to get used to it and say, yeah, it's very convenient. This shop is right across and it's not a cigarette, but it is some kind of a smoking, and you never know what they're filling in after, they get used to it. So I think we have to have a strict regulation as to how and where the shops should be open, and there should be, I don't know if there is already an age limit or something for these things, but we definitely have to take this seriously.
No, I thank you for adding your comments. And yes, you might have came on a little bit late, but I will say that was the first one that I thought of, being that I work at the middle school. I see, I know they open up later, so the morning isn't so much of an issue with the time that they open their facility. But at the end of the day, oy vey, it's not a
Yeah,
good
it's
situation.
their presence with their sign, the colorful sign there.
Yes.
That's enough attraction for our young children. You don't have to, when they can they can come and join after the dismissal if they have to. if there's an option right then and there. And I see some of our middle schoolers walk because they live close by. There's nobody dropping them off, or they don't take the school bus. They probably walk by that shop
All the
every day.
time. All the time. No, it was, that was a no-brainer, and the council here was in agreement that we are moving forward with those restrictions, some of the things that were recommended, and then going even further if we can. So thanks for coming on tonight. Anything else?
That's all. I've overheard some comments about the center, but since I was not involved in listening to all this, so I'm gonna hold off to my thoughts until next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. So you want to close public first, and then before we adjourn, you make your comment? Oh, but it's up to you. That's fine. Go ahead.
We had public comment that, yeah, we did have a public comment referring at some point to, I think one of our previous ordinances on the flag connecting to the LGBTQ plus population. And, I really wanted to kind of help clarify for the record, just my own personal stance on it, because the personality that did mention it is a well-known candidate that runs for public office, as they mentioned, within our borough or larger district. And I think it's important to remember that there are many demographics, or if there is, or there are residents who believe that they are part of a demographic, that they have data or even statistics to show that they're being marginalized. And, they want us as a government to work with them to at least make sure that they feel safer. I think that's important for us to do. And I think it's important for us to listen to such folks who are part of such demographic, whether it's a marginalized demographic by age or race or sexual orientation or religion or creed. So from that previous ordinance, when the personality was commenting on the flag, I want us to understand that these are individuals who are coming forward saying that they believe they are part of demographics that are marginalized. They're coming forward with information, whether it's hate crimes or statistics that are acknowledged from a federal standpoint. And they want us to at least show them some form of support that such statistics will not reflect here in our borough. And when we listen to their ideas as to what they want us to do, for some towns it was street signs, but for us it was a flag. We've had precedents on this for years in the past, and I believe that we did the right thing to continue that resolution for waving the flag as a sign of good faith to residents that are part of such demographics. And I want to encourage more residents who believe that they also fit into maybe a different demographic. If you believe that you are being marginalized, you believe that you are in a demographic that is being marginalized, I personally want you to come forward, let us know at least the data and the statistics as to why you believe you're being marginalized, and share some of your thoughts and ideas as to what we can do as a borough and how we can work with our law enforcement as to how we can make sure you feel safer. So I really want to express that, and I want to continue to express that, and for those who do feel safer, I want to let them know for the record that I'm happy they do. And again, for any other person out there who believes they fall into a demographic, whether it's by age or sexual orientation or skin color or whichever, if you believe you're being marginalized, I want you to feel confident to come forward. I believe that as a mayor and borough council, we will listen to you and your thoughts and ideas for you to feel safer. So thank you again for the public comment on that.
Okay, with that. Ladies and gentlemen,
I move the public portion be closed.
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
To
opposed?
adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, any opposed?
No.
All right, go in peace.
Go in peace. Love and serve the borough.
That's right. Who do I give this to?